Good evening, Clashers and Clashettes, coming to you live from NGE Studios in beautiful Burbank, California. This is the official Supercell Clash Royale North American Opens,
Woo-hoo.
representing a little bit higher in Frozen Peak now. I'm Christian.
Yeah, and with some legendary news, I'm Ella.
That's right, and today we are bringing you yet again some of the greatest Clash Royale duels that you will ever see. We have the top players right now in North America battling out for fame, glory, and beautiful treasures.
Yep, and over 500,000 of you guys at home will be competing over the next 3 weeks in
right.
our open qualifiers, which it's been crazy. It's been nuts. And you guys will make it on tonight's leg tonight, the Coronation Days.
That is right.
16 people will move on to the arena battles, and then 8 will move on to the crown duels, where one amazingly talented, awesome winner will take home $15,000 out of $100,000 prize pool and a chance to go to the Supercell headquarters.
That's right. Again, these guys making it here today are the top players. They are the cream of the crop. And today, if you make it to a Coronation Day, you don't just have that chance to move on. You are taking home first place, $2,000, second place, $500, third and fourth, $300 each, and finally fifth through eighth, $100. Again, just making it is a fantastic feat in and of itself, and we want to reward people for doing that.
Not a bad day.
No, not a bad day at all. Now, we have our Coronation Day number 7. We're almost halfway done with our series so far before we get to the arena battles. Coronation Day number 7 has our top 8 players. Before we take a look at them, let's quickly remind you guys at home of the format that they are playing with. We here at the Clash Royale North American Open run the standard tournament cap with the double deck format. Each contestant submits 2 decks to us. They have to be unique. By unique, we mean at least 4 cards different. And to move on is extremely simple. I mean, in relative terms, as far as you just gotta beat your opponents with both of your decks before they beat you with theirs, and boom, you're one step closer to the top. But the guys who make it here will tell you it's not as easy as it sounds. So let's take a look at who our top 8 players are for today. Up first, Chief Mystical versus Marcel P.
And then we have Fetty Wap versus Flash.
Then we've got third T-Bone facing off against Derek.
And finally, Gilgamesh versus AJ.
That's right. These are our top 8 players today. So sit back, relax, and get ready to see some of the greatest Clash Royale duels you've ever seen.
Ever. And we're not here alone, right?
No.
Because we couldn't do this alone.
That's right. No.
We're not that good.
No.
But we also have a really special guest for you tonight. So let's walk over to the couches.
Let's go meet him.
Over on my couch, I have the Rum Ham, as per usual.
That's right.
Great to see you again, Ella.
Hello.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, our special guest, the one, the only Coronation Day number 4 winner. It's Backstab. Welcome in.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
All right. Congratulations. Thanks for
Great to
being
be
here.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. This is a pleasure.
Yeah, how was the trip out? How was the trip to the 70s?
You know, it's great to come back to the past. This is one of my favorite years.
Yeah, good.
Favorite generations.
70s, a really good year.
Oh, yeah.
So you're Coronation Day winner number 4. So to quickly talk about one of the things I want to talk about in the show is, first of all, what was the thought process at the front? You were facing off against Brian
RT.
So tell me about that experience.
Brian RT is a Reddit Troopers member. He formerly used to play Clash of Clans.
Yeah?
A really good Clash of Clans player.
Okay.
And then I actually played Clash of Clans too for a little bit, and I was in one of the top guilds as well with our 3 members. And
This guy.
now we brought our skills over here to Clash Royale.
So was it intense? You brought a double Royal Giant. First time we've seen it?
Yeah, actually, the first 3 coronations were dominated by Expo, and then the first time we ever saw Royal Giant was Backstab not only winning with the double Royal Giant, but your clanmate, Naruto Uzumaki, also brought double Royal Giant, and I believe you two were the first, 4 Royal Giants we saw in the entire thing. What made you decide to bring double Royal Giant?
All right, you guys, Expo was insane for the first 3 coronations. I was like, I gotta find something that counters this Expo meta. I was like, what not better to run 2 Royal Giant decks to counter the Siege meta? And that's exactly what I did, and I was able to win Coronation number 4.
You changed the game.
Yeah. Did you meet a lot of Expo players when you were making the open qualifier up to the top 8? Was everyone playing Expos down there as well?
Yeah, I participated in Coronation 2 and Coronation 3, and that did not go so well.
Okay, Coronation Day 4, you just skyrocketed
Yeah,
to the top.
live and learn.
Exactly.
Check it out. The meta has come full circle because in the very first Coronation Day, we had 8 players, all of whom brought at least 1 Expo deck. Today, there is not a single Expo deck in the 16 that we're going to see.
Not one card.
The Expo is It's dead and Backstab. You're one of the people who killed it.
Expo.
I
How's
killed
that feel?
Expo. It feels great.
Well, good. I'm glad you like.
It's good to
being
see
a
the Royal
murderer.
Giant.
It's just a
alive.
machine. It doesn't feel.
That's
Okay.
true. Yeah. Who operates it? Is it automatic?
I believe so.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's run by Magic and Soul.
Of course.
Okay.
Wow, magical souls.
You just killed some magical souls.
So,
Oh, man.
So kind of a question just kind of go off. You said everyone was playing Expo, that's why you brought Royal Giant. What happens when you go against a Royal or against a non-Expo deck with Royal Giant? Does your strategy change up at all? Or
If you saw me play in the finals, I actually got beaten by a Hog deck
yeah,
twice.
Hog Lightning?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
were down 2-0. You did the
He
reverse sweep, I
definitely-
believe, to
Yeah.
win.
He played solo with the Hog deck. I had his tower below 500 HP, but I was just not able to clean it up. I also played someone in top 8 without 2 Expo decks and was still able to overcome with him. So Royal Giant still does well versus other decks, but
Yeah.
yeah,
You proved that.
I proved that, and here we are.
Yeah. So you excited to cast some games with us?
And yes, I'm definitely excited that we have a
Okay.
great lineup today.
I have a warm-up exercise.
All right.
So I just got my first legendary card, Lava Hound.
Not even salty.
Yeah, Christian, I guess
Yeah, I
you're the
know, he's
only
totally-
person on
totally
these
salty.
couches without a legendary. How does that feel?
Yeah. Oh gosh. Come back to me. Come back to me later. I'll
Anyways.
draw it out for you.
Anyways, back to me. So, little test. What should I put in my Lava Hound deck?
You just
I
have
don't-
lava.
I just have Lava
You
Hound.
just have lava. Okay, that's gonna be
Nothing
tough.
else to back it up.
Because the miner pairs perfectly with the lava
Right.
hound. So kind of finding something to tank for your lava pups when the lava hound breaks. And the miner was essential there. Maybe you could run like a hog rider.
Okay,
Maybe
okay.
like just go straight up air deck, just to
yeah.
catch your opponent
That'd be
off
fun.
guard and beat down a tower with slowpoke. That would be your best option, but
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I would
congratulations.
Advice from the pros.
Yeah, definitely. Like the important thing is that when the Lava Hound dies, you're gonna want something kind of tanky near the tower to absorb the shots so your lava
Right.
pups are free to attack. So if you don't have the miner, which yeah, that's obviously gonna be the most
Ideal.
popular choice, something like Knight, Hog Riders is a really underrated choice. And when you get up into Frozen Peak, Ice Golem has been a very popular substitution that we are even gonna see, I think, in tonight's matchups.
Yeah, and it just got buffed. This is our first Coronation after the new update, so we'll talk about that. Speaking of these Coronation days, Coronation Day number 4 winner, today's Coronation Day number 7. We do this 4 days a week, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday are at 6 p.m. Thursday, so starting tomorrow, we're gonna be doing 8 p.m. so we can have a little, the West Coasters participate a lot more, so they're not rushing home after work and then playing this. So yeah, so make sure you guys tune into those, and if you're at home, you're like, I wanna be a part of this, you can be. Go to ClashRoyaleOpen.com and you guys can sign up to be one of our finalists, just like Backstab.
Also, you can participate by sending some awesome haikus,
That
which
is
you
right.
already have been doing. Hashtag ClashNAOpen.
Yep.
575 syllables.
Yep.
Always.
Yeah.
And
forget
send
that.
some good ones that are better than the ones that we improvise on the couch.
And don't wait on this now. Send them now,
Yes,
now,
right now.
Yeah.
The
Right
time, the clock is already ticking.
That's right. Yeah, we're getting word. So even before we go to break, that's already too late. So make sure you guys are starting to think of them now. Send them in so we can get you guys up
Yeah.
here on the broadcast. And thank you so much for doing this. Another thing we want you guys to do, if you're watching this on Facebook, make sure you click that share button. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. And if you're watching this on Twitch, make sure you guys give us a follow. We want everyone to enjoy this. We want everyone to see this and make sure that people like this get the recognition they deserve. Because again, he is now one of our contestants who's moving on to the arena battles, and you have a shot at $15,000.
How amazing, right?
That's a crazy payout right now. So our first matchup tonight, we have Chief Mystical versus Marcel P. Marcel P. Is he been the guy who's been here the most?
Marcel P has been the most
Yeah.
consistent performer. This
Top
is his
eighter.
4th top 8 out of 7 events.
Yeah.
So
Already
no one's
over
more
50.
consistent. But I
crazy.
think Backstab might have a favorite here because
We
tell me about Chief Mystical. Tell me about Chief Mystical here.
Chief Mystical is one of the best players in my clan, Hammer Esports.
Oh, got a clanmate.
And Hammer
Mame
Esports
in
has
here
been
in the
very
top 8.
consistent. We
Yeah.
saw full
Yeah.
frontage in the top 8 of the very first event. Naruto Uzumaki has, I think, made 2 or 3 top 8s.
Yeah.
3 top 8s now. And of course, Backstab won our 4th Coronation Day. So this is now the 4th member of Hammers crashing the party here.
Yeah, you guys are
Hammer
pros.
Esports is going to represent tonight. Calling it out. Let's go.
Okay.
Well, here we go. Chief Mystical versus Marcel P. Who do you think it's going to be? Let us know in chat. Our first round of 8 begins.
Ooh, Mystical splits the Skeleton Army either way. Now the Bowler's going to clean that up, but that's a good passive play at the start of the game where you're not really sure what you want to do. You don't really want to commit anything big to the board. It's only 3 elixir and sees what it defends while you commit a little bit of a start to the game.
Yeah, definitely one of the most passive starts you can have, but
Marcel P reacting well with the Musketeer taking out the Mega Minion there. Oh, Royal Giant comes out to tank for the Musketeer there. Well played there by Chief.
Now the Tombstone's there, and the Tombstone is going to both build up skeletons and distract the Royal Giant. What can a Royal Giant player do to get around this?
Most likely he has Lightning in his deck, but right there it was not good because the Royal Giant was already half HP, so he didn't want to Lightning that. He didn't want to overcommit yet.
You just let it go. The nice thing, though, is that as a Royal Giant player, he now knows that he can expect a Tombstone, he can expect some of this other stuff, and that'll give him information for future Royal Giant pushes.
Oh man, did you see the Lightning come out there from Marcel P?
Very strong Lightning. And we actually, Lightning and Rocket are some of the most popular spells in the metagame right now. I think over half of our players are running it in one or more decks. Almost all of them are.
All right.
Let's see, back to neutral here.
Both players stacking up Elixir here, waiting for the next one to attack. We got an offensive Royal Giant coming out from Chief Mystical. Tombstone to block it out, plus the Musketeer.
That's 7 Elixir, now 8 if you want to count the log, but the Royal Giant was still able to get about 2 to 3 shots in, slowly chipping away at that tower.
That's exactly what Chief Mystical needs to be able to do to punch through Marcel's P.
Ooh,
Defenses. Arrows come out for...
It's a 3 for 3, but of course the Skeleton Army's already done their job, right? Getting the Musketeer off the board.
Musketeer, definitely. Oh, we have a Furnace reset here. I'm liking Chief Mystical's play here. A little bit more refined, I think, that Marcel P has, but wow, the offensive Royal Giant coming in here.
Now that bowler, though, depending on how, oh, great Lightning. Depending on how close that bowler gets to the Royal Giant, he could be taking out those archers, but they were just out of range and were able to really work down that Giant before it ever crossed, before it ever really threatened the tower.
Interesting thing to note, the Lightning targets the highest HP thing, so it did not kill the Mega Minion, but instead did damage the tower.
Ooh,
2 bowlers,
wow.
oh man, this is a huge push coming out from Marcel P onto the tower. But the counterattack here with Chief, with the Royal Giant.
Giant is not going to stop that Royal Giant. Doesn't attack, doesn't really block, even though it'll be good for the counter push. How low can that tower get? It's within what, log and lightning range? No, not lightning.
Oh man, great Lightning comes out from Marcel P. This is exactly what he needs to end it. And 1 second remaining, Marcel P takes game 1.
Wow, so close. Now, Chief Mystical's deck right there is also running 3 spells like that. We've seen so many 3-spell decks in the meta. Backstab, why would you, for a long time, you just ran 1 or 2 spells. Why is everyone running 3 spells now? And almost every deck played tonight.
Yeah.
It just gives you so much more variety. You know, you can Lightning, you can play offensively, you can also play defensively. Plus the log does well against Skarmy. It lets you push towards, you know, the tower by like pushing back like Ice Spirits and stuff like that. And you know, you just see a lot of more variety with spells.
Yeah, it's really hard to not get value for a log. I mean, even if you just log, say, an Ice Spirit.
It's 2.
Yeah, I mean, you're paying 1 elixir more than the Ice Spirit to do 100 damage to the tower,
Right.
so really not the end of the world, even if you hit almost nothing.
Yeah,
with it,
yeah,
you know?
exactly. Also, speaking about spells, because I know some units are better on defense or better on offense. Are spells a nice 50-50 split down the middle, or are there some spells that are like, no, this is only used better on offense or only used better on defense?
I feel like it can go both ways with a lot of spells. I feel like arrows, for example, are best used like defensively.
Okay.
Because they don't do too much crown tower damage. I mean, unless like you can predict,
It, yeah.
like a minion horde coming in. So,
sure.
yeah.
I would think that freeze is probably the most offensive spell. You can freeze on defense, but generally those key freeze plays that you see are on offense to stop a big defense. Now, Marcel P, remember in our double deck format, both players have to bring 2 decks, register 2 separate decks that are at least 4 cards different, and once you win with a deck in a single match, you have to switch to your other deck. Marcel P has already won with his Giant Bowler deck, so this is a Golem Baby Dragon deck, one of my personal favorites.
Very interesting second deck here. We've been seeing this type of deck coming out from a lot of variety of players. This Golem slow push with Lightning. Very strong, very hard to defend against.
And of course, Inferno Tower took that 6% hit point.
6% nerf. Yeah, this is huge.
Right.
That's going to be much
Chief
tougher.
Mystical, it looks like he switched his deck.
He did switch his deck. He went from the Royal Giant deck to the Minor Rocket deck as the other deck that he's playing. We just saw Minor Rocket win the very last Coronation Day by Reddit Alpha's Dirty Italian. Really impressed a lot of people with it, and it looks like Chief Mystical picked it up himself.
This
Ooh.
Minor Rocket deck that Chief is running is very hard to play, but on the right hand, it does extremely well. So let's see if Chief Mystical could bring this one.
Yeah,
to
we
game
just
of
saw
three.
the Ice Golem sort of pull off a little tanky trick there. When the Golem blows up, the Ice Golem was close enough that the tower locked onto that, leaving the two Golemites behind to chip away at the tower a little bit.
Yeah, already you see that Golem coming into effect here, blowing up on the tower and just doing so much damage to Chief's tower.
All right. I'm surprised that he switched off because I think that Royal Giant still has a pretty good matchup against Golem because at some point they're going to have to go down to 2 Elixir. But I think we've watched some of Chief Mystical's games in the top 16 and top 32, and he felt very, very comfortable with this Minor Rocket deck. So perhaps he just feels like he wants to play the deck that he thinks he's going to be stronger and better with if he's going to go out of the tournament.
Definitely. We see the Baby Dragon here used to take out archers. Not sure about that play from Marcel P. Bill kind of shaky. Does that rocket hit the Golem?
Just
No!
missed it.
Too close, and Marcel actually gave the cry face because he thought that his Golem was going to eat a rocket right to the face. Chief Mystical was at 10 Elixir, didn't really know what to do, wanted to play defensive, decided to fire a rocket, and it would have been so much better for him if that would have hit.
I expect the
tower.
lightning coming out here. Yes, it does. Onto the Infernal Tower and Knights. Is that going to be enough to defend against the Golem?
That's a really tough
Look
Golem.
at this huge push coming in here from Marcel P. This is the push I'm talking about. So hard to defend.
And yeah, you see so many of those things survive. I mean, archers survive the log. The Golem doesn't take a significant amount of damage from the lightning, and even something like Ice Golem can take a lightning shot and protect something like a Mega Minion. Tower goes down, 18 seconds left. There is a chance, though. Is a rocket coming out?
He has to send the rocket now. Yes, he does. It's not enough, though.
Great rocket, but yeah, you're right. The next 5 seconds, there's no way for him to get another rocket going. He's trying his best, but I think Marcel P's going to sweep this 2-0.
Great play by Marcel P, putting his Golem all the way in the back, capitalizing off Chief Mystical's rockets, you know. So
There wasn't a lot of great rocket targets in that game for Chief Mystical. I mean, the best thing you could have hoped for was maybe a Mega Minion. A Baby Dragon's okay, but Baby Dragon moves fast. So actually, there's a lot of situations where the slow-firing rocket doesn't hit the
totally
Baby Dragon,
misses.
just slides right under it. So, Backstab, I normally rip up these people's decks, but it's your clanmate, so out of respect,
Yeah.
I'll let you crumple up his deck list and throw it away.
That's the approach.
There you
That's the
go.
appropriate way.
Chief Mystical, congratulations on making the top 8, but unfortunately, Marcel P moves on to the semifinals.
He goes home with the Benjamin Franklin.
That's
so
true.
not too bad.
$100.
And
not
again,
bad.
his name being shown to all you guys. All right, let's go for our first replay where we see Marcel B drop a double bowler.
The double bowler has a really key matchup right here, where when watch the Skeleton Army get dropped right here. Even though Skeleton Army is good against one bowler, that instant sort of the double rolls ended up wiping out the Skeleton Army so quick they hardly got any value.
Kind of insane how the Skeleton Army was played in the middle of those two bowlers, but the two bowlers coordinated perfectly to take out that host, Skarmy.
Yeah, they're brothers. They're Bash brothers. So in this one, let's see. Now this is the final push. As you see, even though the log went down, the archers survived. The Mega Minion has barely any health left, but it's just enough for they still put out 100% offensive output while weak like that. So the log didn't really mitigate any incoming damage.
Sure.
With regards to that push.
Just such an insane play with that Golem. Very well played by Marcel P.
Also, speaking of bowler, not that this changed. Well, you know what? Maybe this technically does change gameplay.
Psychologically.
Psychologically, they changed his sound.
Sound?
His
One of my
audio.
favorite sound effects is dead. There's no more hoo-wee, hoo-wee.
Yeah. So what is it now?
It's I haven't studied it as much as I should for my impersonation game, but it's something along the lines of like.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah, he only does it once every like 3 or 4 attacks though. It's not
Oh.
as consistent. I think that's why they changed
What
it.
a
Hey,
shame.
that might change bowler completely. That we might be seeing.
I actually like this new sound effect change.
Yeah.
He
It makes me
sounds
laugh now. I want to play him now.
he sounds as meat-headed as
Do
he
it.
looks.
It's
I
good.
think
Yeah, it's good.
that's-
The voice now matches the appearance.
Right,
Well done,
right.
Supercell.
Yeah.
Well done indeed.
Bring back Hawaii on something else.
Well, maybe the rock as it's rolling makes a wee sound. Like put a face on it. All right, Marcel
next?
B. He is moving on next. Fetty Wap versus Flash. All right, so Flash we've seen here before.
Flash won the Coronation Day
So
prior to
we-
Backstab, number 3.
Definitely.
Number 3, yes he did.
Definitely killing it.
It's worth mentioning that if Flash wins again, he cannot get another ticket, but
But-
he can rack up as much prize money as he wants.
That's right. So he will still get the $2,000.
What am I doing there? I should be playing too then.
Yeah, but he sign up tomorrow.
Will do.
But here's the
Whip out
thing.
your iPad.
Actually, notable for Flash, he's the first winner to actually make another top 8. Every single one of our winners has not even repeated a top 8 performance. So congratulations to Flash
Wow.
for making it back again.
Definitely.
I'm gonna tell you though, I kind of like Fediwap. In a world of golems, the man with 2 golems is king. Fediwap is the only player with 2 golem decks in tonight's tournament, even though several players have brought at least 1 golem
Can we
deck.
say Golem back in the meta?
I think Golem is potentially one of the most defining cards of the meta. At the very beginning of the season, we did see Giant Bowler be very popular, and it seems like the Golem deck has supplanted it by simply being bigger, tougher, stronger than those Giant Bowler decks.
And there we're seeing the Golem actually doing a bit more damage than the Lava Hounds.
Even though it was blocked. I mean, there was a Tombstone that pulled it off to the side and allowed extra tower shots on it. A very well-timed log cleared up all the skeletons that were popping out of the Tombstone and allowed the Golem to get a little closer, deal a little bit of damage. About 20% damage done to that tower.
Definitely. The Baby Dragon is going to wipe out those archers and the Wizard.
And it's proving that Baby Dragon is not just a fluke. We saw it in Dirty Italian's deck. We also saw it in one of the later rounds of the ESWC tournament in Paris. Baby Dragon has finally found its time in the sun in this metagame, where there's Tombstone, where there's archers, where there's Skeleton Army, guards, all these little swarm troops. The Baby Dragon splash effect and the ability to survive a lightning has been very valuable.
It hits air too.
He's
And it
using
hits
the
air.
Golem to tank right here. Look,
Woo.
thanks to Lava Pups. Great play by Fediwap.
Yeah, and even though the Golem is going to cross with near dead, he prevented a ton of damage to his tower and cleaned up. Actually, got a pretty good counter push going here with the Ice Golem tanking after the Golemite goes down.
Actually, I think the Ice Wizard is actually going to hold this push completely here.
Yeah,
Or
Ice
Flash.
Wizard. I believe Flash is the only player today playing an Ice Wizard in any of their decks, and Ice Wizard reminding us how strong of a defensive card it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting that not many players are using it anymore. Why do you think players are not routing out to that Ice Wizard anymore?
It's lightning bait.
Lightning, oh,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, it's a card that, unlike a lot of others, doesn't do a ton. I think everyone who would be playing Ice Wizard is probably playing Baby Dragon. There's a couple Baby Dragons in tonight's event. But yeah, Ice Wizard slows stuff down. It's really strong in a lot of matchups. But just like that, the Mega Minion, Ice Wizard, and Archers pulled right. A very unfortunately timed
This
Mega
defense
Minion
by-
placement.
That defense by Fediwap, he has the Mega Minion, he has the Baby Dragon, the Archers locking onto the Lava Hound.
This is probably the worst situation, though, for a Baby Dragon. Doesn't have a ton of hit points, not a great tanking troop, and it doesn't do a ton of single target damage, so that was probably one of the better situations. Oh no, Lava Pups come out! The tower's locked onto the miner.
We got the Fireball coming out. This may be the push here. The Lava Pups are onto that tower, but it's not enough.
So many of them were getting pulled away by the archers and skeletons coming out of the tombstone. I think only 1 or 2 locked onto the tower, but Flash is slowly but surely putting damage on that tower, and when you have Fireball, Zap, and Miner, he might be able to take this tower down with only 1 or 2 well-timed pushes.
The Ice Wizard actually slows the Golems beyond belief. The Golem is just like barely moving 1 tile with the Ice Wizard slow.
Yeah, I think it's already the slowest card in the game. It's certainly one of the slowest speeds, and an Ice Wizard makes it molasses.
The Fireball coming in.
Oh, another one goes down. The funny thing is, each of these things is still getting a little bit of damage in there. Oh, Miner pops up. Oh, great timed Ice Golem defense by Fediwap there, pulling the Miner off the tower.
Ice Golem is one of the troops that can push the Miner back.
Really? You're right, because it gets in between. If you play Ice Golem close enough right alongside the tower, he walks in between the Miner and retargets the Miner onto the Ice Golem.
I don't know if Fediwap's in trouble now. He used the Lightning offensively. So now Flash is up on Elixir. He has a Lava Hound. The Mega Minion's coming onto the tower. This is going to be it. Here comes the
That's it.
Fireball.
Get the Zap in there.
1.
Doink.
Boom,
There
Zap
it
comes
is.
in to finish it. Well played.
Just
by
enough
Flash.
there. Because Zap does 67 damage at tournament cap. There was 66 left on the tower. Miner only does 64 with the swing, so it would have taken
Zap
2 more
actually
Miner.
does 62 damage.
67. Really?
Yeah, 62.
Oh, man.
Correct me if I'm wrong, chat.
Let us know, chat.
Tell us, chat.
Is it 67, 62, or is it what I think?
Chat love-
64.
64.
I think it's 64 damage.
Chat loves correcting me. I know that, man.
Well, there you go. Flash, congratulations. He is now 1 step closer, but he still has to win 1 more game against Fediwap because you have to win with both of your decks with 1-0. Congratulations.
We're going to have a heavyweight title fight. We got 2 Golem decks in the next match.
Oh, yes,
so
we do.
Fediwap has the same, or not the same deck, but Golem
Right,
deck.
2 Golem decks.
You did it, Backstab. You brought
Two
a
of the same.
double.
2 of the same
yeah.
decks.
What's the risk of that though?
The risk, the reasoning behind this is that, you're probably gonna lose against a certain type of deck, but the next deck that your opponent has to win with loses to both of your Golem decks.
Interesting.
And that's why you run this type of strategy.
You have to play 4 cards different in each deck. How do you make those substitutions? How do you determine, like, this is a card that I need to play in both lists versus this is a card that I can substitute out?
There's a lot of cards that you can substitute for each other, like Tombstone for Furnace. That's one.
Pretty good, okay.
Then you have like the archers for like Musketeer kind of ish. Estate Plate is Mega Minion. You want to run that in every single deck, plus like the Ice Spirit.
15 out of 16 decks today are running Mega Minion, so that was definitely
Wow.
the most
Card of the day.
common. Right.
Card of the day.
Real quick, as we run in, Fetty Wap's 2 decks, in case this is the last we see of him, he's running Golem, Archers, Mega Minion, Lightning in both decks. Log Zap, Guards, actually, oh wow, there's a few weird ones. Guards, Baby Dragon, Furnace, Tombstone, Zap, Log, and then Ice Spirit, Ice Golem are the substitutions there.
Now, if you're doing that, are you going to try to like alternate, like one is more expensive and another one's less, or are you going to do like one deck's really cheaper, one deck's more expensive, or do you want to try to kind of even it out?
I think you probably want to keep an even one, but I think Backstab could speak to that a little
You
better.
kind of want to keep an even one and one that kind of like works the same way. Like the Ice Golem, Ice Spirit, kind of the same thing. They both like distract / tank / slow.
Is this going to pull the Golem back towards the... Oh, it was a little too far away. I think what he was trying to do with that Tombstone
pull back
was pull it, continually more left, but it was a little too far off. And right away, Flash's very first Golem push is significant damage.
This is where the nerves kick in if you're Fetty Wap. You know, you mess up with the Tombstone, you're up against Coronation #3 winner. You know, you're nervous, you're sweating it right now. You're down a lot of damage on the tower, and you're running the same kind of deck.
Flash, I believe, is the only representative of TakeOver in this one. TakeOver, they saw that Reddit Alpha took the lead on winners,
not happy.
and they're
Yeah.
very not happy about it. So they are looking
Sent
to.
their winner back.
And Flash had
Flash, get back in there. Go win another one.
All right, we have Golem splits from both players here. Tombstone now, brings the Golem to the other side, but the Golem decides to go to the lower tower yet again.
The one Archer backing up the Golem, though, does make Fetty Wap's left side push a little more aggressive. Flash has only 5 elixir just now to defend that Golem, so it's very possible we see a tower trade here. Ooh, another
Oh,
Golem.
Tombstone comes out
There's a
though.
log roll. No, he's gonna
Oh,
let it
Baby
happen.
Dragon
When the
coming
Golem
out,
explodes, he's
clearing
gonna
up
kill
those
a skeleton.
skeletons.
And look at that. That's a pretty scary push right there.
Baby Dragon against Mega Minion here.
We're going to get 3 crown?
Oh, maybe. You're right. Wow. He definitely ignored that
I
right
didn't
side
even
push.
I didn't even see that tower going. I bet Fetty Wap is thinking the same thing. He's like, what happened to my
Nobody
tower?
saw it. Nobody saw it.
It was almost dead.
And now Flash is just fireballing, cycling here. Maybe trying to get the 3 crowns that way.
Very desperate play. Golem is unfortunately a very slow deck. Very powerful. Probably the most powerful pushes in the entire format, but a very slow moving sort of push. When you're down to 30 seconds left in the game and you're behind a tower, there's not a lot of things you can do in order to come back in. And you can tell though Flash is hungry
just
for that
going for that
3
3
crown.
crown.
He wants it.
We got the log coming in.
One more.
One more fireball. We'll do it. Good games coming out from both players here.
Play a little faster. He's got plenty of elixir to do it. Get that fireball.
10 seconds. Can he do it? Yes, he can.
That's it.
3
Oh,
crowns.
Flash! Well, this is our second. He is
Second.
our second 3 crown. A very rare sighting indeed. Boy, you expect nothing less from a previous champion of one of our coronation days. Flash now moving on to the semifinals. Congratulations.
Congrats,
He's one step
again.
closer to the top.
Congratulations, Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you decide to just take down that 3 crown?
Well, think
When you're
about
just
it.
ahead comfortably.
It's not just necessarily he was ahead comfortably, but once that tower got to about 850 or so hit points, he knows without a doubt that he can fireball it to death because there's nothing that stops fireball. There's no spell shield, there's nothing like that, right? And he knows that even if he loses a tower or 2 towers by not defending,
He can just-
he's gonna win the game in
Right.
45 seconds. So he kind of just went for it. I think.
not?
You know what though? That's a really good turnaround for Flash. I talked to Flash after he won the 3rd coronation day, and he told me he was so nervous. His hands were shaking. He was sweating. He was really nervous. Now,
Now you're just 3
little
crowning.
cocky. Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
he's psycho right there.
He's got that confidence. Fetty Wap, great play. 2-0'd by a winner. There's no more honorable way to go
yeah,
out.
no shame in that.
Sorry.
Taking down a champion.
Whoa.
Nice shot.
Almost got it right in the
Stick to
head.
your
Indeed.
rap career.
Well, here's a replay from that last match. We got Flash. Let's take a look at this beautiful Ice Wizard defense.
Ice Wizard really earning his keep here. I mean, oh god, Fireball goes out. So hard to see what's going on. There's so much stuff on screen. I think one thing that really hurt here was Golem very expensive investment, doesn't fight back, doesn't really kill anything, and even though he prevented a lot of damage to the tower there, he took so much on that counter push. And in the second one, we see just how powerful those baby dragon pushes can be. With the golem exploding on all the skeletons and the 2 golemites tanking, that left something like baby dragon alive to continue pushing and threatening that tower.
One thing, a final question I want to ask you, Backstab. I saw on the golem push, I think this wasn't last game, but the game before, it was Fetty who dropped an early log to try to clear out all the tombstone. So the tombstone's about to break, and he was going to clear it out so the golem could get a little bit more damage on the tower. But when the golem dies, he blows up the skeletons anyway. Do you think that was worth it in that sense? Is that a little extra damage every time you try to take it?
What he's trying to do is to tombstone, and if the tombstone is in dying range of the log, the log actually kills the skellies as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
it's because
The very front of the log kills the tombstone.
Oh,
the
that's
skeleton spawn and then it
amazing.
keeps rolling
I
over.
need a log. I need a legendary.
all.
Bowler
I
does
need
the
a
same
log.
thing.
respect the log.
Okay.
Bowler
All right.
does.
So rolling
You're in
units.
Frozen Peak. Pick your bowler up.
Yeah.
Start knocking those tombstones
I've got him.
down.
I got him. All right, so let's go ahead and now pull up our brackets. We are 2 semifinalists in, 2 more to go. Chief Mystical getting knocked out by Marcel P, and Fetty Wap right there getting knocked out by Flash. So up left is T-Bone versus Derek, and finally Gilgamesh versus AJ. Now, Backstab, do any of these names ring a bell to you? You recognize any of these guys?
Definitely T-Bone and Gilgamesh, top performers in a lot of tournaments. So it's good to see them here competing for $2,000. Let's see which one of them shows up tonight.
I'm going to give a shout out to AJ, our 8th player at the bottom of the bracket. Not familiar with AJ. I don't think he has a big tournament scene. But what I really like about him is that he's played very creative decks in this event. He is the first appearance of 3 different cards in the top 8.
In his 2 decks?
His first deck has Bomber, the first Bomber we've seen. His second deck has Valkyrie and Mirror.
Yes!
We're going to see some
and
Mirror.
So
Valkyrie.
good.
Yeah.
That's not something we see every day, folks.
And I think Valkyrie is going to be kind of like a baby dragon sort of card. It's going to be good against the skeleton armies, the guards that we normally see.
Yeah.
And of course, Mirror's going to be fun because it allows him to mirror furnaces.
Good.
Mirroring
is the best.
Anything.
might even see some mirrored lightnings.
Near lightnings to end the match.
Yeah,
That would
it's
be
true.
insane.
Yeah.
Double lightning back to back.
Definitely.
Again, just a reminder what these guys are playing for. Like Backstab, taking home $2,000 for first place, second place $500, third and fourth $300, and finally fifth through eighth $100. And again, first place winner gets a ticket to go on to the arena battles, where you will be joining Backstab there if you are going to participate, or the player tonight. And then from the arena battles onto the crown duels, $15,000 for first place and a trip to go see Supercell. Are you psyched about that?
I'm psyched. I won first place.
Yeah.
Root for me, guys.
There you go. Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how many chests of gems did you buy?
There we go.
How many mountains of gems are you
Exact-
buying with your prize
With
money?
that prize money.
Unfortunately, I'm gonna buy my car.
Hey, okay.
Well, that can drive you to the arena battle.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Backstab playing for a card. You guys, if you guys want to be part of this, go to ClashRoyaleOpen.com where you can be a part. We only have, so this is number 7, so we only have 9 more left of these Coronation Days, 9 more winners after tonight's winner to be giving out.
Yep.
You could win a car.
You can literally win a
Pay for your
car.
car.
Actually, I changed my mind. I'm gonna invest it in gems.
But
Hey.
more importantly,
Or college, right? Or college. No one?
More
Okay.
importantly,
No, I
send
think
us
gems.
your haikus. Hashtag ClashNAOpen. I'm looking at you.
That's right.
Send them to me.
That's right. This
I
is-
want to read them.
This is technically
now.
your last chance to do it for this
Yeah.
broadcast, because before we go to break, it is already too late. They are being picked and being brought up to us. So right now, last chance, send us in your haikus. Also a reminder of our broadcast days. Tomorrow is our next broadcast. It's happening Thursday at 8 o'clock p.m. So you have 2 extra
After
hours
dark.
to just dance. You have 2 extra hours to dance, play Clash Royale, and have a great time. Up next, T-Bone versus Derek. So Backstab, right now, who do you think? Who are you gonna give it to? Who's taking
I'm
this one?
voting
Who's
for
going to
T-Bone
semifinals?
just because I've played versus him a
Really?
couple of times.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
How is he as a player? Is he-
Real
is
quick
he-
deck summary. Here's the thing. I want to root for T-Bone because he's got an Inferno Dragon, and I love that little armored guy.
So cute.
But Derek CR is playing Goblin Barrel, and I know that when Rainey returns, he's going to really want to cast a
yeah,
Goblin Barrel
he is.
game. So
So you're doing it for Rainey.
okay, so the deck review real quick. T-Bone is running a Royal Giant Furnace deck, and his other deck is Lava Hound Inferno Dragon. Derek is running a minor Goblin Barrel, kind of fireball, like minor cycle deck, and his other deck is Giant Bowler. So very good variety of decks between these two players. 4 different decks.
We see here the exchange of Mega Minion onto the tank battles.
Mega Minion's tough. Such a hard card to deal with, and it's so good against these giant bowler decks. Oh no, the bowler's not turned on it.
Oh, that bowler got value. It hit the Musketeer, hit the tower. Oh, the lightning comes in, takes out
Wow.
the Furnace, take out the Musketeer. Very aggressive
Crazy.
play.
That's an early lightning.
Derek,
We usually
yeah.
don't see him that early.
And after, yeah, well, it was really good value, right? You saw a 4 elixir Musketeer and a, let's say, 3.5 elixir
'cause
left
it was already
on
halfway,
the
sure.
furnace, right? So you're getting a good amount of value, plus you're hitting the tower for some damage. After the initial exchange, T-Bone is up by 1 elixir, although I think he kind of leaked it away. He had a 1 elixir advantage and did a decent amount of damage to the enemy tower with his Royal Giant. He couldn't be unhappy with how that turned out.
And he stopped the Fire Spirits coming out from the Furnace damage.
T-Bone's deck does have a lightning. Oh, and there it is! I was
Oh.
gonna say, like, the Mega Minion and Musketeer were sort of held in place by the slowly single file skeletons, and that allowed a very good lightning.
That's actually a huge misplay by Derek here, allowing his troops to stack up on next to the tower to be lightning here.
Yeah, we talk about how you really have to adjust to what other people are playing and sort of be a little predictive in your expectations. Lightning is probably the most commonly played spell right now, right up there with Log. And if you cannot just set 2 medium health troops right next to your tower, because you're just asking to get lightninged away.
Especially when it's the Mega Minion Musketeer. That's a 7 elixir combo versus a lightning that's 6, kills both of them off and gets tower damage.
Yeah, good amount, 350 or so.
Yep.
Let's see if it happens again. The Tombstone is gonna pop, and it'll help protect the Musketeer on the way down the left lane.
Now
they're
we're
much
double
further.
elixir. We got an aggressive push coming out here from Derek.
Oh no, the Mega Minion.
Musketeer onto the Musketeer to the Mega Minion. Oh wow, lightning comes out.
Didn't hit that Musketeer, and that low health Musketeer on the right side is shooting and getting a lot of damage on that Giant.
The
preventing
log
that
actually
push.
doesn't push the Giant back.
Does it miss? Oh, he played it a little too far up. Skeleton
Played
Army
too far
coming in left. Ooh! Oh ho ho! He made the sound. It's a new one.
All right, here comes the bowler with his new sounds.
Derek, though, I think is significantly far ahead. There's got to be T-Bone has to come up with some way
This
to
is
do a lot
lightning
of
value right here. We got the Musketeer and Furnace.
Ooh!
Lightning coming out here any second now.
I think he's gonna save it. Oh, he could just.
He
There
could
it is.
have put it earlier. He had 6
Yeah.
elixir. I feel like he was kind of hesitant. That's when the nerves kick in.
Yeah, he was unsure of his play in that moment. And the down, I mean, granted, he can just lightning for the win here very soon, but you're right that if he would have lightning, that Giant only needed 1 punch to get in there. I
That would have
don't-
been game 1 already. Be lightning that earlier.
Yeah, you're right. Well,
He's
maybe
still going to
playing
take this
safe.
match though.
Absolutely. There's no way that 1,000 damage can be dealt before the next lightning comes out.
There it is.
Boom.
Derek.
Takes a game 1.
Yeah.
Proving me wrong.
There we go. I like this. Next time, you should come here all the time. You do. This is fantastic. Derek now 1 more game away from going on to the semifinals against T-Bone. So I have a question. If you are T-Bone now, you know Derek has to play his next deck. You can't play the same one twice. Do you switch your deck up or do you go with the same one?
So what I'm looking up, it's going to be a Royal Giant, Lava Hound versus a Minor Cycle deck. If I was T-Bone, I would stay with the Royal Giant deck.
Okay.
He's got Skeleton Army and Log in the Royal Giant deck. Now here's the thing, Goblin Barrel decks, really fun in the ladder, really great in challenges where people don't expect it, but in this format, the players do see each other's decks and can strategize a little
Right.
bit. So he knows there's gonna be a Goblin Barrel. It's gonna be very hard to catch him off guard. It's up to Derek to really play at the next level and bait out that Log. Get him to play the Log against something else so that you can then Goblin Barrel. Try to get the arrows out of his hand. T-Bone also has arrows in both decks. It's gonna be very tough for that
gonna
Goblin
be-
Barrel to get a lot of damage
It's
in.
really tough. Just a reminder for you guys at home. Also, if you're watching this on Facebook, go ahead and hit that share button. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. And finally, if you're watching this on Twitch, hit that follow so we can give the Clash Royale love to all the peoples in all the lands.
Everybody needs to see it.
Yeah, everyone needs to see these guys, how good they are, so that they can also be good, so that they can also have a chance of playing for $2,000, then $15,000, then spending it on a car or a mountain of gems.
Yeah.
Mountain of the Gems it is.
And hopefully never get legendary.
You convinced me.
Oh, I have a question for you.
Yes.
You said there was a misplay with the lightning there. The troops were not in the right
He
spot.
just, no, it wasn't a misplay. It's just that he held on to it a little too long. If he would have sent it
okay.
earlier, he would have had one way earlier.
Yeah, and then at the very beginning of the match, there was, it's weird, you don't necessarily call it a misplay, but he sort of walked into it. Like, if you think
Yeah.
your opponent has lightning, oh god, we got the Skeleton Arm coming up the side, and the Log cleans it up. Yeah, if you think your opponent has lightning, don't give them something that they're happy to lightning.
Here, lightning
yeah.
on my troop.
Here, I put a Mega Minion and a Musketeer just right next to my tower to make it real easy for you.
Here, I dare you. Fine, okay.
Let's see if a Zap can come out. Now here's the thing,
Oh,
he has
wow.
the lightning.
Pretty healthy Royal Giant coming in, but the Log pushes it back. Takes
One
out
shot.
the Musketeer.
Ooh.
Wow.
Derek is already saying good game.
Wait, good games coming out. Oh man, the BM is real.
Oh, he meant to say well played.
Yeah.
He did
I
the
hit
oops
that
and the well played. Then the
Misclick.
thing.
See, even though there's no chat, there's ways to communicate.
Yeah,
in this game.
that was a nice little exchange right there, entirely with emojis. So here comes a Furnace. A Furnace is a great thing to cast when you don't really want to attack it and just want to kind of see what your opponent's going to do. Princess is a great counter to that because it's going to shoot every single batch of Fire Spirits, and then once it gets close enough, it's just going to start picking off that Furnace.
He's gonna have to take out that that
Princess.
Princess before it does too much damage. Oh man, it's gonna completely take out
Infinite.
that Furnace there.
Princess is such a natural counter to that card. Now see if he can lightning this away. There's no zap in the deck. Oh no!
6% nerf. Oh, that comes into play here. The Royal Giant still lives. Has to use the Miner defensively. You never want to do that.
Wow.
And he's gonna eat up
no.
two shots. Musketeer. That's huge.
That was value after value.
Infernal nerfs.
You're right, because so Inferno Tower is one of those cards that ramps up its damage so quickly. It doesn't do much. It's little bit, and then suddenly chunk, chunk, chunk. 6% damage nerf meant that if it took maybe one more Royal Giant shot, one more Musketeer shot to kill it, it might have ramped up very quick and done a ton of damage, but instead it died before the Royal Giant took too much of a lethal amount of damage and was able to get a good amount of shots in on the tower.
Definitely, we're seeing the 6% HP nerf coming into effect here. Arrows out the minions.
But I think he has Log back in his hand again.
Logs out the Skeleton Army here, takes a tower. T-Bone up one. Crown Tower.
This would be a great time to throw the Goblin Barrel because you just saw arrows, you just saw Log. Oh, the
Oh, the
Furnace!
Fire
No!
Spirits!
Oh, wow.
And the Fireball!
Oh, does not lock onto that.
Wow, it's
Mega Mini though.
And let's see, he's got 24 seconds though. He does have time for another Log and another Fireball, but of course the problem here is that once one tower is down, Royal Giant decks are so favored. They can drop that Royal Giant right there in the middle. It immediately locks onto the tower.
Oh no,
and you
the
are in
Mega
big
Minion
trouble.
is hitting the tower. Gonna get
zap it?
2 shots, 36 HP. We're going into overtime.
Now what Derek needs to do is get that Inferno Tower down almost preemptively in the middle. You don't want to wait until the Royal Giant's locked onto your tower because you're already taking a deadly amount of damage.
The interesting thing to note here is that Royal Giants prevail when their one tower is down, and Miner Cycle decks don't.
You're right, because once the King Tower is activated, every miner has to. Oh, bad lightning!
Oh, the lightning.
That is so brutal. So you're right though. I think this game might be T-Bone's to tie it up because there's no way that there's going to be 2,000 plus damage to that tower before the next Lightning or Royal Giant comes out.
Great play here by T-Bone. Loving his deck. It's exactly what I won with in Coronation number 4 and showing us why. He's going to close it out here with the lightning right now.
Get him! No,
There it is.
Just like that, T-Bone tying it up with a 2-crown in overtime against Derek. We are going into game number 3. Our actually first game 3 of the night.
Yeah.
Every other one has been 2-0. So congratulations to these two guys, both one step closer to being our semi-finalists of Coronation Day number 7.
So T-Bone had a really great play where he took down that Inferno Tower and then just took so much damage on that tower. How did he orchestrate that beautiful little play there?
I mean, the first thing is knowing that your opponent's definitely going to play Inferno Tower, because the biggest mistake he could have done would be run low on Elixir, right? If he backs it up with Archers, backs it up with Mega Minion, and only finds himself with, say, 3 or 4 Elixir when that Inferno Tower comes down, you're in big trouble. He expected it. He probably saw it on the deck list, knew it was coming, so he saved up 6 Elixir, and once that Inferno Tower comes down, happy to doom, hit both the tower and the Inferno Tower, freeing the Royal Giant to lock on and fire away.
And that's the important part.
So Max, so far that we've seen now both these players take a game up. Who are you? Has your decision changed? You thought it was going to be T-Bone. Are you still with T-Bone to take it to the semifinals?
Let's see here. We have a Lava Hound deck versus a Miner Cycle. I'm going to go with the Miner Cycle.
Okay.
I'm going to have to switch back to Derek here. I feel like his deck is probably going to be better.
I kind of believe in that as well, because here's the thing. As good as the last deck was with Log and Arrows and Skeleton Army, this second deck of T-Bone not only has the arrows, lacks the Furnace, which was used at fighting a lot of those Goblin Barrels, but cards like Inferno Dragon are going to be really weak against the Skeleton Armies, the Goblin Barrels, those sort of cards.
Yes, definitely. I feel like Derek has a better deck here. If he plays it right.
Wow.
Great play
Let's
there. So
see.
what happened, a Princess comes down for Derek, T-Bone counters with the Miner, hoping that the Miner locks on and kills it. The Skeleton Army surrounds the Princess, kills the Miner, and keeps the Princess alive. That Princess is still walking and shooting.
The defense by T-Bone here was spectacular. He used the guards to counter the Miner, And then the guards actually tank
Go, Princess,
the
go!
as well.
And even though the Mega Minion finally takes her down, how much elixir had to be thrown at that thing in order to kill it? I mean, that was the 3 elixir princess who kept earning her price. Wow, great time for the princess.
Aggressive princess here coming in from Derek, getting that poke damage is exactly what he needs to stop these big pushes with the Lava Hound. He misses
4
the skeletons.
2 are locked on.
That's going to be huge damage.
Each skeleton does more damage than the miner, so those 2 skeletons have more than tripled the miner assault.
Just like that.
And here we go, we see the Inferno Tower completely stopping that Lava Hound here. The Lava Pups are gonna get taken out by the towers.
The lava pups are so slow that even though a whole bunch of things survive, they barely get to the tower and threaten it. Only 1 attack out of all
little
that
guy.
big.
And that's what
storm
we're
of things.
saying with these 2 decks, that we have something that slow pushes with the Lava Hound, but then we have like the fastest spell bait deck in the game right now.
Look at this. Before this thing hits, 2 towers with the exact same health.
Oh,
How often
nice.
does that happen?
Nice
12,
job.
82 on both.
Counter,
Beautiful synergy.
he decided to take the whole damage, plus the princess is locking onto that tower as well.
He's going to go ahead and
T-Bone
pretty much lose that tower, I think, and try to commit full blast to the left side push.
uses the arrows, keeps the Mega Minion alive.
Oh, and now he doesn't have the arrows for the skeleton army.
Mega Minion is going to lock onto the tower, but gets fireballed out.
The pups will pop out and attack a lot of those skeletons, which does prevent a lot of damage to the tower. Pretty good, pulls the pups away and everything.
Uses the miner on defensive right there. Not sure about that play.
Here comes that Inferno Dragon. One of the last unplayed cards in the
Oh,
Goblin
but
Barrel.
the Goblin
Not so
Barrel.
good. It's just going to slowly work down those. And this shows how important these matchups can be. Another Lightning could come out in order, to clear out the...
Lightning takes out the Inferno. Yes, it does. Keeps the lava. This could be the push here.
This tower could go down, though, because all that Inferno Dragon has to do is lock on for a
Fireball
little
doesn't
bit.
take out. Here we go. The split comes out.
Oh, there's a lot of
It's
life.
going down. It's going down.
And we are going to go into overtime, I think, unless this Goblin Barrel
Oh, 3 crowns
gets its
coming in
pound of
with the
flesh.
Inferno Dragon onto the
It's locked on. It's going down.
Look at the mouth. They damage.
Whoa!
Wow. That was so much damage.
15 HP.
My goodness.
Here comes just one more log is gonna. Oh, he's just gonna
The miner's
miner
coming
it.
in for Derek.
The guards don't come. Oh, the tombstone comes out to hold it
Counter the
off.
miner.
The miner swing hands another lightning.
There it is.
Whoa.
Oh, just the last set. Derek's like, guys, not even
man.
close. Not even close. Derek moving on as our semifinalist, joining Marcel P and
crazy.
Flash. It's finally we see what happens when an Inferno Dragon locks onto a tower. Amazing damage.
If that Inferno
Whoa.
Tower had a little bit more HP, we would have seen the game right there.
Over. Yeah.
You know what? I think here's how T-Bone could have 3-crowned it. If you noticed, he lightninged the enemy tower, the enemy king tower, but he did it just a little too late. The Inferno Dragon had died to like the shot just as the lightning was cast. If that lightning was say like 2 seconds
No
earlier and it
way.
would have stunned the tower, that would have given the Inferno Dragon an extra attack or two with a very high amount of damage and could have theoretically ended that game.
Exactly. The Lightning has a
Okay.
0.5 of a second stun now.
And the Inferno Dragon attacks every 0.4 seconds.
Oh, it was just enough.
So if you stun it,
Crazy.
you actually might get maybe 2 more Inferno Dragon attacks in there.
Are we seeing this replay here? Going on, we got the Giants coming out from both players here. The log actually pushed the Giant more into the tower.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it knocks it away from the center, and since it kind of hit the first tile, it pushes it forward instead of
I
backwards.
didn't know that was possible.
Very deadly.
Oh, this is where the 2 skeletons just make it through.
Yeah, look at how much they rack up. I mean, you know how much a solo miner does. It's not the most
No.
aggressive. It's maybe 400, 500 damage over its whole lifetime. Those 2 skeletons more than tripled it. T-Bone, I love your Inferno Dragon. I would have loved to see an Inferno Dragon 3-crown, but
No.
That was so close.
dunked. You got dunked by Goblin Barrel.
Woo! Congratulations now to Derek, who is moving on as our semifinalist. Up next, our final round of 8. It is Gilgamesh versus AJ. So, we were talking about AJ. Gilgamesh, we've seen her before.
I've seen Gilgamesh play definitely a lot. And now we're going to see him play against a mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah,
AJ
that's
with the most
exciting.
creative.
Yeah, crazy
So yeah, let's look at AJ's deck. What's AJ mirroring in this deck? Probably Furnace, maybe Lightning as you mentioned. So if a tower ever gets down to say like 750 damage left on it, you can just double Lightning as
Lightning
opposed
that.
to having to cycle it. Double Valkyrie could be interesting. Double Mega Minion with a Giant is real scary. I mean, that's 12 Elixir, but that's a terrifying push if your opponent doesn't have Lightning in their hand.
But Gilgamesh does have lightning both of his decks.
Very good
so you
point.
can definitely counter 2 Mega Minions.
All right,
Gilgamesh.
well, let's go ahead and take a look. Gilgamesh versus AJ, the final round of 8. One of these guys will be our final semifinalists. From him, finish the thought.
Gilgamesh is the only Hog Lightning deck in the field tonight. We've seen Hog Lightning do pretty well. Kind of a fringe deck. There was a time when Hog Rider was potentially the most popular deck in the entire game, but right now this Hog Lightning deck is it's on the edges. It's looking for a really strong win.
There we go. We see the Ice Golem into effect on defense there. Slows down the minions and tanks for the Valkyrie.
Furnace, I actually like Furnace a lot more than Tombstone when defending against Golem, because to the point that Christian mentioned earlier, those skeletons just kind of die to the Golem explosion, so it doesn't feel as strong.
Ooh, beautiful lightning coming out from Gilgamesh. Gets the tower damage and blows up. We see a mirror
wow.
Mega Minion here.
Really smart, because there's a lot of times you want to use Mega Minion on defense, and then your opponent makes an attack, and you wish you had another Mega Minion coming in. Now, see
There we go.
the
Now
Mega
Gilgamesh
Minion
doesn't have lightning in this cycle, so you can't
Oh,
take
he
out that
does.
Mega Minion. Is this the mirror play we were looking for?
Oh, nice. All the
Arrows come
arrows.
out pre-fire.
A little bit of a waste of arrows, unfortunately, because the Mega Minion was there to clean it up already. It's okay.
Risky play there by AJ. Does not pay off this time though. The pre-fire arrows.
I'd like to see, okay, so what else is he going to mirror here? We've seen the mirrored Mega Minion, that's probably the best. You could also mirror just the regular minions to a lot of effect. I think that he would normally mirror Furnace, but Golem is such a good answer, even against double Furnace, that I don't know if you'd want to do that.
You see AJ here. He used the mirror last time. Once his Mega Minion got lightning out, he just mirrored it once again to stop that Golem. Very interesting play.
Here comes that Baby Dragon backup. And you see how good it is. This is a perfect example. Triple minions normally are going to shred that Golem. Only takes 2 Baby Dragon spits. Take him
Wow.
out.
It's great to see the Baby Dragon just spitting on a bunch of these troops here.
Ooh, and that Furnace has really done a good job distracting the Golems. And then once it turns into Golemites, the Fire Spirits splash on both of them for a good amount of damage.
Oh, the Ice Golem on defense here again. Oh, get pushed with the log.
How much was taken out there? The Giant was knocked back, the Valkyrie was knocked back, those Fire Spirits got wiped out. Second Furnace, remember you can tell that the card was mirrored because it is 1 level higher than normal.
Yes, it is.
Right.
The level 10 Fire Spirits from the level 8 Furnace.
Tournament cap. He's
Mirror
cheating.
Furnace.
He's cheating.
It's impossible. Just when you thought you got away from higher level cards, Mirror shows up in
Mirror shows
tournaments.
up. Bye.
All right, we have the Golem pushing in here. Valkyrie actually is going to lock onto those archers to take those out. It's great to see this card coming back into the meta here.
Ooh.
Valkyrie actually goes back and is going to take
back
out the
home.
Golems.
And remember, the Golem with the last balance update, its Death Explosion now hits air units, and it does enough to kill minions. You saw 2 of those 3 minions get blown up when the Golem died.
Oh.
Makes it very hard to defend against the Golem and still generate a good counter push, because so much of your defense just gets blown up when the Golem gets exploded.
AJ does not have anything to take out those arrows. I mean, he doesn't have any use for his arrows here.
Yeah, you're right. There's almost nothing in the opposing deck. I mean, Archer
This Golem's going to split, and that should be the match here.
that's it!
Oh,
One more hit. There it is. Gilgamesh taking down AJ's right tower, picking up the first game of our final round of 8 before we move on to the semifinals. One step closer. All right, so let's talk about how do you think AJ played that? How was that? Where did he kind of drop the proverbial ball?
I feel like the Mirror Furnace was kind of where he dropped the ball at. It didn't do too much. The Golem just tanked up all the Fire Spirits, and I don't feel that there was too much use for the Mirror
Mirror Furnace?
Furnace.
Maybe what he could have done is, instead of putting them both in the same lane, you put them in both lanes. Because then if you put them, one in each lane, and then if your opponent ever tries to go this big Golem push, it's easier for you to go down the other lane and sort of force them to split their elixir. If I had to guess, looking at the deck that AJ was just playing, it looks like it was probably built to crush Expo decks. The
Interesting.
Valkyrie can tank the Expo,
The one deck
and then
that's
chop up all
not
the
here
stuff.
today.
I don't have any of those.
Yeah, not today. But now AJ has his choice of decks going against a Hog Lightning deck. So he knows that his opponent's going to play Hog Lightning. The downside for AJ is he's got a ton of Lightning targets in both decks. Mega Minion, Musketeer, Valkyrie, Tombstone, Furnace, Bomber. A lot of cards that can get zapped by Lightning. It's really hard for him to play 2 cards on defense and not eat a huge Lightning.
AJ's actually playing a cannon as well. Does a great
right.
job to distract the Hog, and also great against lightning because you don't really get value off lightning cannon.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Wait, he's playing a cannon too?
He's playing Cannon, yeah.
That's
Instead
also a new card.
That's right. That is the first time. Well, you're right. I think that is the first time we've seen Cannon.
I don't think we've seen cannon
That's
at all.
4.
And it matches up really well, actually, even against things like Skeleton Army, because it fires pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And unlike Inferno Tower, it takes a little bit to warm up and things like that. The cannon just doom, 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 knocks the
AJ,
skeletons out one at a time.
I have mad respect. Thank you for bringing all these new
Yeah,
cards,
I'm
showing it,
loving it.
trying to be a meta changer. But right now, you are one game away from being knocked out. Let's see if AJ can come back and tie it up. Will Gilgamesh be our final semifinalist?
All right,
Sticking
here
with
we
the
go.
mirror deck, if he's going down with his favorite mirror deck. And he does split them up. Maybe he's watching the stream and listening.
He's like, oh, that's a good idea, Ryan.
Lightning comes out, takes care of that furnace though.
And now he doesn't have a lightning for the other furnace, and that thing's probably going to run its course.
Yeah, Gilgamesh is down on Elixir right now. Let's see, the minions are gonna take for the Inferno.
I was a little worried about those minions at first because I thought, like, oh man, why would they? You don't want them to run ahead and hit the tower.
Wow.
But then the Inferno Tower came out. Very good prediction there by AJ.
Inferno did nothing. This is gonna be a tower here, but the Scarby comes out.
Lot
Look
of
at all that
Lot,
damage
yeah.
coming out. Almost takes the tower. It wasn't for that Scarmy.
Well, and he's got Mirror Lightning, so that tower's basically gone.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, of course, the Fire Spirits are going to keep chipping away if he doesn't do anything to block it. I think AJ's pretty comfortable now with that tower going down. The important thing is don't lose a tower.
Sure, in the meantime.
Right. You've got two things over 2,000 health, less than 2 minutes to go. You can definitely play
Defend.
defense with a lot of strong defensive cards. I mean, Furnace, Mega Minion, Valkyrie Minions, all those cards are pretty impressive on defense.
Gilgamesh is in the world of pain. He actually had to use Mega Minion to take the Fire Spirits there. Valkyrie is still gonna lock onto this tower.
Woo.
Fire Spirit's gonna
That's some good
jump
damage.
onto.
I don't think there's a lot of stuff in Actually, Gilgamesh is really lacking answers to the Valkyrie. Lightning doesn't kill it. Inferno Tower only works on defense. Mega Minion's really the only choice that he has because things like Princess, Ice Spirit, Hog Rider, and Skeleton Army are not so hot against the Valkyrie. Wow.
Definitely. All right, here we go. We got a better Inferno placement there by Gilgamesh. Is he gonna get lightninged out?
Might just
No.
let it go.
So AJ is just playing defensive right now, gonna lightning whatever he can get value
Fire
off
Spirits.
of.
Now that is not that's outside of Arrow's range. Arrow's, I believe, does 99 damage at tournament cap.
Oop, if he mirrors it.
But you're right, that would be a little more.
True.
Here it is. Do it. Do it.
Mirror the lightning. No,
Hog's
the
gonna
minions
get
come
two shots
down.
off. Ooh, only gets one. The minions are so fast to react here.
Oh. Valkyrie versus Princess.
And Mega Minion has largely replaced Minions, so when you play both, it's actually cool to see them side by side how powerful they can be. Let's see if this Mega Minion can make it across the river and kill that princess.
Here we go. We got the Hog coming in versus the Valkyrie. Double Valkyrie coming out.
Valkyrie.
You're gonna let that Hog get one shot only.
The bane of skeleton armies around the world.
Just the blender.
Look at the redheads pushing in here. Ooh, the lightning comes in, takes the tower. The log actually pushes the Valkyries a little bit forward. 5,
It looks
4.
like that's gonna do it. AJ tying it up against Gilgamesh. We're going into game number 3 here for our final round of 8. Congratulations, AJ. We're seeing just literally like you said from him. Huh. I think if he mirrored that furnace on the other side, it'd be way better. And he does it, and he gets the tower and he wins the game.
And I think that was really a tale of two matchups. I mean, we saw there in the first game, Gilgamesh's Golem deck with Baby Dragon just had a lot of great answers for the cards in AJ's Mirror Furnace deck. But in the second game, that Hog Lightning deck is just
Poor guy.
didn't have the matchup, right?
Poor guy.
But we're going in, both players have to play their alternate deck. It's going to be Hog Lightning against a kind of classic looking Giant deck. It's got Giant backed up by Bomber, Musketeer, Mega Minion. The Cannon is going to put a thorn in the Hog Rider's side, but of course it's also going to walk into Lightnings.
So how does the bomber come into play here? I've never really used that card. I've never really liked it. What is this?
Bomber is a
about
very
him?
fragile card, but it does a ton of damage and it does AoE damage as well. So it could be good on defense. You know, it's only 3 elixirs, so
Little cheap guy.
Yeah.
a little cheap guy.
Bomber might be finding a nice little place in the metagame because Bomber used to not be played at all because Poison and Fireball were very
took
popular,
it out.
and it would kill it for only a -1 elixir trade, but you did a lot of damage to the tower. No Fireballs and no Poisons really seen that much recently. Everyone's playing Zap, Log, Arrows, or big stuff like Lightning. Bomber costs 3, so it's not really worth it to Lightning, and it survives against the Zaps and the Logs and the Arrows.
Surprising against Log?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think here Bomber is going to be used basically as a very cheap defense that does a good amount of single target damage, great splash damage, and it doesn't really. There's no really good spells that match up against it in most
There
of these
is.
decks. Let's watch him go.
All right, there he is. There's the little guy with his bomb. Is he gonna lock onto the Inferno Tower? Yes, it is, but it's not in time to take out the Inferno from taking out his Giants.
That's a great noise.
See if target. Oh, that cannon could have been played a little bit further back. I think, unfortunately, it was a little too close, but the Hog Rider should still not get a shot.
There we go. We see the cannon on defense for a +1 elixir trade value.
Gilgamesh is actually at 10 elixir, but leaking. That's the big challenge. Is you never want to leak elixir because you never know if you actually have an elixir trade. And if you even have something as small as a 2 elixir advantage, don't just give it away by passing and not playing anything. Really try to commit things to the board in order to make the most of it.
The reason sometimes people leak elixir is because they don't want to overcommit in play. They want to play defensive and then see what their opponent plays to counter. Oh, the bomber. There we see it in action, taking out the Skarmy,
look at that
hitting
one
the
skeleton.
Hog. The one skeleton almost takes out the bomber.
That bomber will not threaten the tower, though. So low health, such short range. Boink, picked off at a distance, but we see the value now of that card. That's why you would play that
I
bomber.
might use him now.
Cute little guy, too. Got big old goggles. We've got, if you ever want to use them, you can just take the head right there off of
I like
the
our studio version.
Yeah.
Super adorable.
We got the Musketeer kind of split to take out the Mega Minion here.
I think she's one tile
One
over the
tile.
side, so unfortunately she's not going to back up that giant.
But she is going to lock on into that Inferno Tower. Is that what AJ was looking for?
AJ does not have a zap in this deck, unfortunately, so if he's going to make a plan to beat the Inferno Tower, it's got to include saving 6 elixir for lightning. Here he goes. He's going to save it, save it, save it.
Here we go. The lock pushes the bomber back, plus the Princess Splash does take it out. Skarmy comes out onto the Giants. Gonna make quick work of him.
And you see the difference here, why so many people are preferring Golem over Giant right now is because those Skeleton Army defenses, well, it would just blow up. When the Giant dies, it would just kill the Skeleton Army for free.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Tombstone and Cannon gives him 2 separate 3 elixir cards. That Hog Rider is going nowhere.
Doing nothing.
We got two great defensive decks right now.
Yeah, let's talk. I mean, look at this. Both towers are essentially pristine until that Musketeer took a few shots on it, but all 4 were over 2,000 health.
Man, wow, look, these guys could not get through, and that I don't think that lightning was valued there for Gilgamesh. The cannon is only 3 elixir, stops the Hog, so you kind of don't want to lightning something that's 3 elixir. If it's an Inferno Tower, definitely it's 5, for your 6 lightning. And there we saw the lightning come out, just does a little bit of damage to the tower and takes out the cannon, but the Hog still did not make it through.
I wonder if both players are thinking about going towards more of a lightning cycle. Like they're willing to take bad elixir trades, but as long as they're getting damage on the tower, because I think both realize that there's not a lot of openings for them.
Well,
Are we seeing a spell cycle battle?
Maybe.
I was going to say, because as far as the damage that was done so far, it looks like this might be going into overtime, because 3 minutes, I don't even know sure enough damage would be done if they kept the cycle up.
AJ did not feel confident about his giant push there, just lets it get taken out by the Inferno here.
Yeah, I think AJ's, I don't know if that's just nerves or if it's part of the game plan, but I feel like he's letting way too many of these giant pushes get thrown away. Like, there's going to be an Inferno Tower, so just be ready. Plan out your pushes that involve playing a lightning along with your giant. Don't just let the giant die to a 3 elixir skeleton army.
Oh, this is a good push coming in from AJ. Takes out the Mega Minion.
Oh,
Plus
great
the
log.
log on the Tombstone, but no, he has a cannon as well.
That log did everything. It killed the Tombstone, hit the skeletons, hit the cannon, hit the bomber. So many things went down. This time the Musketeers played on the right side and reaches the Inferno
Musketeers
Tower.
onto the Inferno, but the Skeleton Army is going to take out and back it up. Wow.
Ooh.
Impeccable defense from both opponents. Wanting on to move on to the semifinals. No one wants to lose here.
You're right.
I don't
we
think
might
they're
be seeing
going
a draw.
to.
Yeah, I think losing is not going to be the problem, and the cannon keeps pulling it over.
We're going to have our first draw of the night. Already down to 1 minute and 35 seconds remaining into the match here.
Let's see a crazy curveball.
What could happen right now? Yeah. What could take down the tower?
It's really hard because the cheap cycle of AJ's deck. I keep like, oh, maybe he just doesn't have a cannon or tombstone. That's really never going to happen because of the
They
cheap.
always do.
It's double elixir too, right? So you only have to play something like a Mega Minion or a Bomber, both of which are good against those Hog Rider pushes to get back to one of your 2 buildings.
There we go. We see kind of what Gilgamesh has to do is just poke with the Princess, catch AJ out of cycle. And there we go. He uses the cannon to take out the Princess. So now his Hog may be able to get through. All he has to worry about is the Tombstone here. There we go. Tombstone breaks.
He's
there we
got
go.
it.
The Hog is
The
going
Hog is
in.
going.
Lightning here.
Lightning.
One shot.
Oh, too late on the lightning.
But 384 HP, all he has to do is cycle his
Yeah,
lightning
he
and
has
one more log.
40-something
Can he
seconds,
do it
right?
here to move on to the semifinals?
I think you're right. He's got to go right into all the bombers predicted really well to stop the Skeleton Army. The Skeleton Army is so big, does so much damage. The next giant coming in, I don't think he's got to log it.
We
right?
see AJ knows exactly that he has to keep the pressure up or else he's going to lose this match.
There's a log.
There's a log. Are we
Two
going to
more
see lightning?
elixir. Two more elixir.
we go.
This
3,
is
2,
the lightning. He gives it to him. Gilgamesh, when we thought we were going into overtime, said, I'm putting it into hyper gear. He
Sure does.
goes on to the semifinals, joining Derek, Flash, and Marcel P. Congratulations. What a match.
Reddit
What
Alpha,
a match.
so many heavy hitters. Remember, last time we had 2 Reddit Alpha members in the finals against each
Yeah,
other.
they were
Pop
battling
Rangers
against each other.
And now we have 2 totally different Reddit Alpha members
Moving
in
on.
the top 4
Yeah.
who could theoretically meet in the finals.
Reddit Alpha. Where's Hammer at?
Hammers is right here.
That's what you want. Hammers did win. Hammers did win, Dean. Well, congratulations again for moving on. What you guys are seeing right there is our next broadcast. So tomorrow, Thursday, 8 p.m., that is when we're going to be back here with some fantastic more and more battles.
Yeah, and my
AJ.
new boyfriend.
Oh, the bomber.
We got Bomber. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is
You
Bomber.
guys are even dressed the same. How cute.
Yeah.
That's great. You got the red and gold combo going on. I like
Yeah.
that.
We're
AJ.
destined to be with each other.
You had the most creative decks of the night.
Absolutely.
Keep playing off meta. Keep doing your thing. But
is for
tonight
you.
is not your night.
You were so close, AJ.
Goodbye,
Definitely
AJ.
next time.
So let's take a look at the
Sorry,
replays
AJ.
here. The first one, we have a Golem and a Lightning. Backstab, walk me through. What's going on?
All right, here we go. We see the Golem coming in, gets the lightning value onto the furnace, pushes the Golem onto the tower here, and then just the hits coming in, the explosion any second now. Boom! So much damage coming onto this tower, and the log just for safekeeping. GG.
Golem's slow, but does a good amount of damage, and that explosion does a very underrated amount of damage. If the Golem gets close, just the explosions of the Golem and Golemites is pretty threatening. In this match, we see yet another lightning. I think the key there in the final game was Gilgamesh recognized that, all right, if I'm going to win this game, it's not going to be with troops.
Right.
It's going to be with unblockable spells. Even though they don't do that much damage, if I can get 3, 4, 5 lightnings here in the double elixir extended tournament overtime, I can win this game. He switched to it a little sooner than AJ and was able to pull it off with less than a minute left in overtime.
Yeah, well
Crazy.
done again to Gilgamesh for being our semifinalist. Now, before we
Yeah.
kind of move on, since we haven't seen Mir before, just so everyone knows, Backstab, can you explain at tournament cap what does Mir do?
Mirror actually grants you 1 level up, so if you have a level 9 common, it makes it a level 10. If you have a level 7 rare, it makes it a level 8. And even legendaries.
Level 2 legendaries.
Level 2
What,
legendaries.
what cards are probably the best? Because there's some cards where if you're 1 level higher, it doesn't really change the interaction at all. Like, yeah, a little more damage, but they die in the same number of tower shots. What sort of cards are different when they're 1 level higher?
Difference, I would say stuff like Mega Minion does a lot more damage. Pretty much not big of a difference, I would say, but
Goblin Barrel can't be zapped.
can be
right?
zapped, but it
Yeah,
can
it's
be
true.
logged still, though. That's
It can
the
be
thing.
logged, that's right, because the log got the higher damage. Yeah, the goblins take 1 more tower shot, I know, 1 level higher up. And there's definitely a few cards like Barbs survive a little better against a lot of the splash damage out there, because of course you get 4 separate barbarians get the 10% hit point buff.
Wow.
There's definitely some interesting stuff. I
Giant
think
skeleton.
minions. Giant skeleton, bottom a little more.
Big explosion.
There are a bunch of really cool ones out there. And of course, it lets you double up on cards that you normally have to cycle for. Doubling up on spawners back to back allows
sure.
the lane to get out of control
Okay.
very quickly in a way where normally you have to play Furnace, Ice Spirit, Miner. You gotta play like 4 cards to get back to your Furnace. Just being able to play them back to back, very, very
Awesome.
powerful.
Sweet.
Definitely Mirror, one of the hardest cards to bring out. And thank you for coming out.
Yeah,
here,
make it
AJ.
to the top
Make
8.
it with the Mirror.
That's
top
right.
So
8.
great.
right.
That's something
Let's
incredible.
take a look at our brackets, and you can walk us through them before you have to leave us.
That's right, Backstab. So you're not going to be here after the break, so let us know between Marcel P, Flash, Derek, and Gilgamesh, who do you think is going to take it? Who do you think right now out of those 4 is going to be our Coronation Day number 7 winner?
Who's
I
gonna
feel like
buy a new
my
car?
boy Marcel P, fellow streamer.
This is his time?
Very consistent time. He's made it here how many times? 3, 4 times.
4 times.
So-
Over
That
50% of our Coronation days have
He is
featured a
here.
Marcel P.
He is here.
Let's finally get Marcel P a coronation.
Okay, all right. So there you go.
do it.
Backstab thinking Marcel P. Rumham, what are your thoughts?
My heart's with Marcel P, but because I can't pick the same person, I'd like to see Goblin Barrel take 1 home. Isopa
sure
got
Rainy would too.
It
For
got so
Rainy.
close. Isopa finished 2nd to Flash in 3rd Coronation
That's
Day.
right.
Derek can bring 1 home
Yeah.
for the Barrel of Goblins. Let's see if Derek, and also he's the least known, I think, out of those 4 players, so who doesn't like an underdog story?
Yeah.
And if we really want to rub it
No
in
one.
Woody's face, Gilgamesh could win and have just a bunch of, everyone except the Reddit Alpha co-leaders could win.
Poor
Okay.
guy.
Yeah.
Well, this is your last chance. Your very, very, very last chance.
Well,
Send us your haiku.
No, actually, technically, it's too late now. Isn't it
No,
too late?
not yet. Not.
I'll read 'em anyways.
Yeah, we'll read 'em.
I will read them.
All right, it's your last
Hashtag
chance.
Clash
It's your
NA
last
open.
We'll give you guys some grace. Backstab, before you leave us, any final words here? Again, congratulations for being a winner. $2,000. You will be moving on to the arena battles for, again, a chance at $15,000. So, final thoughts? Any maybe encouragement to anyone out there who's thinking about joining, thinking about playing?
Thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure. Until next time, I'll be here tomorrow in the Coronation so you can watch my games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll be playing. Make another topic. How many? We've already got one Hammers Esports guy in the top 16 yourself. If you had to pick 2 others who are going to make it, who are the 2 most likely out of Hammers?
Oh, man.
I'm putting you on the spot.
I was like, you gotta pick
The
me.
trick ham.
You gotta pick me.
All right. I'm sorry, but I think Chief Mystical
apologize.
and Naruto Uzumaki, my top players for Hammer Esports, but we also got runner-up Sui.
Sweet,
Okay.
yeah, Sui Generis.
Yeah,
Yep.
Sui
And Full
Generis.
Frontage, of course, has made
Oh,
it before.
Pro Puntage, my coach as well. Coach now. I'm actually a coach position now for Hammers.
Hey,
Awesome.
congratulations.
Congratulations.
Well, there you go. If you guys want any tips, boom, this is your man. This is the guy to talk to. All right, that'll do it for our round of 8. Do not go anywhere. When we come back, our first one is Marcel P versus Flash. Don't go
All-star
anywhere.
matchup.
That's right. Flash returning champion. Hey.
These are the rules of the duel. All duels must have appropriately epic music. Clash! Clash! Duel players in real time. Destroy towers in real time. That was a rule of the duel, a most ridiculous duel. Clash Royale. These are the rules of the duel. Anything goes in the arena, and anything goes inside the Goblin Hunt. Anything. A most ridiculous duel. Clash Royale. These are the rules.
Clashers and Clashets to the official Supercell North American Open Clash Royale North American words. So many words.
Welcome back, guys.
Rainey's back.
So good to have Yeah, Rainey, you're messing this whole thing up. Yeah.
Backstab grew his hair out.
Backstab,
We
you look
just have
so
a whole
good.
new dynamic now.
It was we took a really long break. It was,
Wow.
things have changed
Yeah.
since the break started.
Yeah, but hey, congratulations again on winning. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got Backstab here.
No, it's Rainy. It's my good friend.
This is Rainey. He is back for what you guys are about to tune into.
Wait,
is
hold
the
on, I'm Yarn.
Semifinals. Here we have Marcel P, Flash, Derek, and Gilgamesh, who are moving on. Top 8 now down to top 4. So thank you guys for tuning in. Also, if you guys are watching this, just a reminder on Facebook, go ahead and click that share button for all your friends who are watching this on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe. And finally, if you could give us a follow on Twitch, that would be fantastic. We love you guys for that. Thank you all for being amazing, also being part of the community. Thank you for supporting this and just participating in this. Already over 200,000 of you guys have gone through Open Qualifier, which is a mind-blowing number here for North America. So keep doing this. We have 9 more after Coronation Day number 7. So, but right now, one of these 4 will be making it. Who will it be?
You could be one of them.
Yeah, but you can't beat today.
Not tonight.
No,
but
tonight.
eventually.
Yeah, unless you somehow.
Like tomorrow.
As soon as tomorrow.
As soon as tomorrow,
As soon
you
as
could be
tomorrow
one.
As
comes,
tomorrow. What have you thought about the night so far, Rainey?
The night has been great. Golem has been a little bit surprising to me that it's been so effective. I mean, we knew that Golem decks are really strong, but there seems to be some juice, right, in these Golem decks today. So really excited to see more, and love that a Goblin Barrel made it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were all
you.
rooting for that. Wait, and Gollum, just as a reminder, Gollum didn't get changed in the update, right?
The only change was the explosion damage would hit air. I don't think it's a crazy significant change, but it was a good buff. I'll talk a little more about Golem after the haiku, I think, because I have some thoughts on why Golem is so popular.
Okay. All right.
We know this haiku was meant for Backstab, but unfortunately you're just gonna have to have me.
From winner to winner, though.
From winner to winner from Ender.
This is from Ender.
Giants and bowlers running rampant at my king. Let's nerf Inferno.
It was like, yeah, and then let's get rid of that.
A little sardonic, a little sarcasm there.
Yeah, but hey,
Mr. Ender.
coming from the top guy, coming from
Yeah.
a winner of one of our Coronation Days, that's got to be
It
true.
means something.
Yeah,
He's the Inferno Tower.
It's gotta be true.
gotta be true.
We'll start calling him Salter because he's an Inferno Tower player himself, not taking the nerf, he's taking it a little personal. I get it.
It's all right. Well, thank you for that, guys. Thank you also for all your amazing haiku submissions. Don't worry,
Yes.
next time you will have a chance to making it on. But for today, that is it. Let's go ahead and pull up our bracket thus far. If you guys are just now tuning in for the semifinals, right now, Marcel P, Flash are about to go head-to-head, and after that, it is Derek versus Gilgamesh. All right, so Rainey, Marcel P, Flash, Derek, Gilgamesh. Who are we were kind of talking before the break? We said we have Backstab thinking Marcel. He's rooting for Marcel to go in. Rumham's picking Derek to go in. Who is your guy to win?
I think
Or gal?
that
Who's your person?
my person. I think Marcel P is looking pretty good right now, especially it seems like with Golem decks being so successful and him kind of having played a few times now outside of Siege, playing big bodies. I think he's had a lot of experience and a lot of time in the Coronation Days, and I think it's his time to take it. Other than that, I'm still hoping Goblin Barrel wins it.
Sure, of course. Yeah, you can't go great. Like you said, you can't go
love to see
against the
that
heart.
too.
Yeah.
So now let's go ahead and pull up the decks for both of these players. We've got Marcel P. We've got Flash. So maybe now this is a time to talk about Gollum, Rumham.
Well, actually, notable in Flash's deck, we'll do like a little art corner, I think, for the Golem thing. It's going to be a little bit, I'm long-winded when it comes to Golem. But Flash running double Fireball, which is kind of unique in this meta. Everyone's been running a lot of small spells, or like log and arrows and lightning. Flash trying to get away with really just double Fireball and then a little cheap spell in both decks. Also running double Tombstone, which is kind of interesting. All 4 decks, though, very tanky. Giant, double Golem, Lava Hound between the 4 decks. This is going to be a little bit of Battle Cruiser Clash Royale here.
Just giant bodies. Boom, 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 hitting each other. All right.
And worth mentioning, this is what I love about the Clash Royale North American Open, is when you get the best players playing over and over again against
Back
each
to
other.
back.
This is an all-star matchup. This is the sort of matchup that you could see at the Crown Duel in December, but I mean, look how good these players are. Marcel P, over 5,000 trophies right now. Flash has already won a Coronation Day event. I mean, this is like
Yeah.
an
Top of the
A-plus
top.
matchup, and it's the semifinals.
Yeah, and also, again, one thing that you pointed out earlier, like today, first broadcast, go back to Coronation Day number 1, Expo in every single deck. Today, not a single Expo. So the thing about having these back-to-back is the meta constantly shifting. And like we talked about Backstab, it's why'd you bring double Royal Giant? It's like, well, everyone was running Expo. So it'll be really exciting to see after today what tomorrow is going to bring. But right now, we have the semifinals between Marcel P from Red Hat Alpha and Flash from TakeOver. Who do you guys think is going to take it?
Let us know. Golem in the opening hand. Huh.
That seems a little aggressive because, yeah, it's going to be really hard. I mean, you're not going to really get 8 elixir of value here, and what you're really doing, which is unfortunate, is giving your opponent a chance to play his archers and Mega Minion behind, and then they can all follow up right there behind the Lava Hound. I think Marcel might have been better off almost playing anything else, like splitting archers, playing a Mega Minion casually in the back, or just waiting, because committing 8 to the board for that, kind of tough.
Trying to time his miner, or rather the Ice Golem, to tank up the pups, but having the pups be so near the tower anyways, had just 1 or 2 of the pups locking on for that duration, and look at how much damage that does. 1.3k on the left side tower, Flash opens it up big. Tombstone is definitely one of the strongest opening cards that you can play, and I think Flash reaped the benefits of that.
3 elixir advantage for Flash translates into basically a free Tombstone, as they are now both at even elixir, except that, of course, Flash has a little bit of a logjam there in the lane. You got to get through the Tombstone if you want to push. Now it's his chance to gain that elixir advantage back if he can defend this really well, and instead he's going to go for the push down the other lane.
I think seems like Marcel P is really calling out Flash, and maybe, you know, the strategy for Marcel P is that he wants to get started on a tower health early because he knows Golem is so slow. But the problem is, if you're playing Golems and you don't have it well supported and they don't end up doing any damage, that's so much lost time. I mean, it's already a minute left to the game, and this is only the second Golem to be played.
Yeah, and he's taking a lot of hits. I wonder if it's the nerves because, you know, Marcel P's mentioned that he gets nervous. Like, he's really great in the early rounds, obviously a super consistent top 8er, but when the lights are on, he starts to struggle and maybe question his own plays, and he's played kind of questionable Golems that I'm not a huge fan of. He's got to sit back and defend. Don't try to counterattack. Just stop this Lava Hound and then counter push with your defending units. Like, what could possibly be in his hand that the other 3 cards aren't playable?
It's also hard too. Flash is so confident right now. He has nothing to worry about.
Absolutely. You're right. The pressure is not on for Flash. He's just here racking up money.
The Lava Hound actually going to take that tower down. Lava Hound noodle damage taking down the tower.
You're right. There was no support for it. That was pure noodle.
Golem actually pure noodle. Golem actually does make it up to the tower for Marcel P, and a big lightning is going to open up some damage. But again, only 8 seconds left, and you have lightning in your hand. That's going to have to be cycled 2 or 3 times. And really have to wonder, Marcel P's decision-making and strategy coming into this match, you know, in some ways, that's the least of your worries, right? Because that's just something, it's not something executional, it's not necessarily something deck-based. It's just, I have to make a few different decisions, and then we'll go from there, right? It's not the worst loss in the world.
No, not at all. I mean, Lava Hound probably does have a pretty good matchup against Golem in a lot of ways, so that was an unfavorable matchup, but great players can know how to play around that, right?
Yeah.
You do the weird lines of plays, you know the keys to the matchup. I'm looking at Marcel P's deck there, and he has 4 troops, all of which are reasonable to play, so even in those situations where he goes, all right, Tombstone, and then he would play Golem, there's no way the other 3 cards in his deck were unplayable, because at least one of them would have been Ice Golem, Mega Minion, Baby Dragon, or Archers. Why not play those into the Lava Hound? Theoretically, he could change and do that next time, but Flash is going to have to switch to his Golem deck. So we're going to a Golem Mirror now.
Right.
Okay. Rainey, you touched on it a little bit during the match. Why is Tombstone such a great opening card?
Because it's very neutral, right? Tombstone, Furnace is a better example of this, but Tombstone is very similar in the sense that you can play it. Normally, you don't want to play defensive towers without anything to defend against because they degenerate health. Right. But spawners generate their benefit one at a time, so you can really play a card in front and have the skeletons kind of benefit you in a small way as they're coming out. And it just makes sure that even if your opponent does play something, when a Tombstone pops, it puts out additional skeletons into the field. You're still getting good value for its death in some ways.
Now, Lava Hound, just for correction, I think I say this because it looks a lot like Baby Dragon's attack. It doesn't do splash damage when it hits, does it?
No.
No.
Okay.
It's a single target damage. It does about the damage of 1 Spear Goblin.
Okay.
And, pretty scary.
So I got a legendary, but it's kind of a...
Well, hey, the Lava Pups, though. Lava Pups.
That's true.
No joke. You're right, though. Lava Hound is definitely, I would actually, unfortunately for you, Ella, probably the least newbie-friendly. No, it's powerful. It's very powerful. The least newbie-friendly legendary.
There's so many
it's
other
not
cards.
something you can just pop into a deck. Something like Princess or Ice Wizard, you can play in almost any deck and it's pretty effective. Lava Hounds really have to build around it.
Marcel P chooses Giant Bowler, so he lost and he did not have to switch his decks, but he chooses to. Giant gets a few good swings off, but it's really going to be up to how much damage this Golem can do to see if that was really worth it.
And maybe this is why Marcel was being really aggressive with those early Golems, because look at this, he's getting kind of trounced by an early Golem. It takes about 1,000 damage in that initial push, mostly because he didn't have a lot of great troops to defend it against. He just had to use the Bowler there.
One thing I learned recently is that Bowler, yes, does not knock back the Golem, but does knock back the Golemites.
Right, the Golemites are medium-sized
Little
compared
medium
to the big
guys.
old Golem.
That's right.
Log knocks back everything.
Good old Log.
Log destroys.
No, why didn't I get a log?
Hey, you at least got a legendary. Goodness.
Sucker.
Poor Christian.
Can we have hey, can we just have the camera guy come up here, and so then I'm also not just the only person on the stage without without a legendary? He's nodding. He's nodding.
He probably also has a legendary.
The only one minion swing hit that Musketeer, and the one minion swing was enough to lower the Musketeer's health low enough that the Fireball killed it. That Fireball should not have killed that Musketeer, but unfortunately for Marcel P, things are just not going right for him in this matchup.
I liked Marcel P's use of the log there right before the Golem died. It actually avoided the tower from taking the Golem death damage and retargeted the Golem swings onto the Tombstone, but it just seems like too little too late. Marcel P is stuck in a really, really tough spot. Of course, there's one big benefit. If you defend this Golem well enough, and you can actually make sure your tower is not in spell cycle range by the time overtime hits, you can actually race the Golem deck and try to take down Flash's tower before the Golem actually makes and does its damage. And then all of a sudden you're turning the game around, and that's actually an outcome that I can totally see happening, and it might just be playing out right now.
This is really strong. He's got a Giant backed up by Giants. The Mega Minion's full health, and the Fireball doesn't kill the Bowler. It's still rolling.
Wow. Just like that, it looks like Marcel P is turning this around.
Uh-oh, I think I...
No! He's got a lightning.
He's got
You can
lightning.
do it. You can do it.
He needs to survive
You
just
can do
a
it.
This is the
little while
Fireball.
longer.
The Fireball's not going to kill it, and there's only the one spell.
Come on, Log.
The Log came down. Marcel P survives.
P tying it up against
Sticking in
Flash.
there.
1-1. We are going into game number 3 for these two players, where one of them will be our first finalist of Coronation Day number 7. Again, one thing I love about you guys is your predictions being spot on.
It's almost like we've watched thousands of games of Clash Royale.
It's just so good, like being able to see, all right, okay, if he can defend this perfectly, he's going to be moving on there. So again, talk to me just more. I mean, I'm assuming, yes, it does come with just watching game after game after game, you start seeing these patterns, but how can someone who's newer to this game start, like, how do you start recognizing patterns? What are certain key cards to look out for? What are certain play styles, certain cycles that people get into
How do you pull a that?
that are pretty key?
I mean,
Big question.
Here's the thing. Clash Royale is not a random game. We're seeing the same people appear every single week because the game is actually very even. Both players start with the same amount of elixir. The map is even for both players. The entirety of Clash Royale is the expression of spending elixir into cards and then cards into damage. If you line your cards up well, if you time them right, if you match up good cards of yours against good match opponents, you will eventually translate elixir to cards to damage more efficiently than your opponent over and over again. The reason why Marcel P lost that first game is because putting golems on the board is not an efficient transfer of elixir to cards to damage if you have nothing to back up that golem, right? And there's nothing behind it doing damage. That time, we saw a really great situation where the bowler was surviving, the musketeer was surviving the spells, and they were backing up the giant to just thrash that tower. It's almost like Marcel P woke up in the middle of that second game and was like, oh,
He heard you guys. That's what happened.
player. I know how to do this matchup.
The nerves
And
calmed
changed.
down,
Right.
the shakes went away. Marcel P is here to play. It is now 1-1. One of these two players is moving on. Will it be former champion Flash, or will it be four-time returnee Marcel P? It all comes down to this.
What does he do now? How does he take it?
I think if he can learn from his mistakes in the first game, he's got to kill this golem of flashes. Like he's got, don't play your own golem. Sit back. You've got Mega Minion. You've got Tombstone archers. You've got cards. Kill this thing and make Flash pay for committing 8 defenseless elixir to the board.
Mega Minion is assisting the Golem in its journey across the map.
Fireball.
It's going to make it to the tombstone, but not quite enough to take down the skeletons, and that timing might mean all the difference. The skeletons take down the golem before it reaches the tower to avoid death damage. Fireball removes the archers, and I think that's a key pickup for Flash in terms of deck building. Fireball has not been a spell that we've seen hardly at all. It's almost always been lightning, but as we have identified, archers become more and more popular. Fireball becomes more and more sensible as a spell to pick up.
And you see how that pacing went so much better for Marcel. He had about a 2.5 elixir advantage, and he knew that once the golem was down, he had a little bit of an opening along with the elixir advantage to get down a golem of his own. Now we're in a back and forth push situation, but Marcel P has a little bit more elixir to defend with. Both of them opt for the tombstone. This will allow the skeletons to accumulate on each other's enemy golem and, of course, drag the golems more towards the middle.
Minions drop for a little bit of defense, and I'm just now noticing that Flash is actually playing Mega Minion plus minions, and that actually might make air control difficult for Marcel P to wrestle with. Now, he does have Baby Dragon to take the minions out, but what do you do, right, and the archers, but what do you do once that Mega Minion comes through and starts taking down the Baby Dragon itself, and then you have Fireball for the archers? I really think that Flash's deck building is actually a little bit more well-informed than most of the players that we've seen so far.
Absolutely. I mean, that is, we talk about the changing metagame and how players adapt to each other. There's definitely a good strategic element of playing Fireball. I think he might have made that choice because he thought that with the nerf to Inferno Tower, we'd see less of it. He wouldn't need Lightning so much, and opted to go with the faster, cheaper spell to take out Archers, Mega Minion, and all those other cards. Marcel P's got to make sure he spreads out a lot so he doesn't eat Fireball on all the cards. The Archers survive!
The Archers.
This might be the big opportunity. Yep, he drops a second golem. Now, the first golem has cleared the way. This is what you guys have to watch out for. When your first golem clears the way, the second golem is going to push past while your defenses are weak or ill-positioned.
And the Mega Minion's distracted on the golem, allowing the Baby Dragon, which is normally a bad matchup, to survive. It's going to get through on the Archers in this critical game 3 with only 15 seconds left. Can this push do it?
I think the timing was just perfect for Marcel P. Log and the golem. Oh, man, I wish we could get a replay of that. I think it might be the ice golem. Marcel P. coming back for the reverse sweep. I have to say that Marcel P's timing on that log was absolutely key in changing things. So we talked about how the log, if it deals the killing blow to the tombstone, kills all the skeletons that come after it. He played the log when the tombstone was actually too healthy, but the timing on the golem swing hit it just at the exact right moment. Log came through, took down all the skeletons, and earned him the winning push.
Marcel P, congratulations. You are moving on to the finals. He's been there before.
Absolutely. The very first
His journey is not over.
It's not over yet, but he is one step closer, knocking out Flash.
Flash! Oh, Flash! Great job. You've earned a little bit more money to your pool, but you are out for tonight. You do not win a second Coronation Day. If we could take a little bit of a break, I want to talk about why I think Golem is a little strong. We can take a little bit of a delay before the next match.
Before that, we got a quick replay, and then we will do that for you, Rumham.
All right, Giant, and this is really talked about, again, in a very similar fashion. You play one Giant, it clears out the defenses. You play your second Giant, and now all of a sudden, it's not as well set up as the first set of defenses that Flash had. And look at how many swings this Giant gets. Just such great use of...
That's right. That was the one where he fell just short, but it was within long Fireball range. Able to finish it off. I'd love to watch this final push here. This is now in the same way, going bigger than what Rainey was just saying. It's Golem with another Golem behind it. The key there, that Baby Dragon, which we saw do so well in the last Coronation Day, is doing it again here. All of those things, minions, Mega Minions, Archers, all locked onto the Golem, and Baby Dragon kills almost 10 elixir worth of stuff by himself.
Yay, Baby Dragon.
Baby Dragon, the best Golem defense we've ever seen. He's the best bodyguard for Golem.
He did it. He did it tonight.
Congratulations. All right, so now that Marcel P is moving on, before we get into Derek and Gilgamesh, let's talk about Golem, why he's so amazing.
I want to talk about a really important concept in competitive games. And especially when you're trying to figure out the meta and how am I going to beat everything else. There's a concept of going over other strategies and going under other strategies. So let's talk about Giant Bowler as sort of the midline strategy. That's a very mid-rangey deck. A lot of 5-cost cards, a lot of middle-cost cards. When you know your opponent is going to commit 5 elixir to the board, going down to, let's say, 5 of their own, you can do one of two things. You can go under that strategy by trying to punish them with fast, quick attacking cards. They play Giant behind their King Tower. You go Hog Rider, Ice Spirit, that kind of stuff behind it.
So that's under.
That's under. When they make a big commitment, really quick attack and try to punish them before you have to eat the pain of their strategy.
Okay.
Right? You could also do Miner, Goblin Barrel. All those things are going under big, expensive, heavy investments. Going over is the concept of knowing your opponent's going to play some big strategy and playing something bigger and tougher and scarier than them. I think Golem has become very popular because we saw Giant Bowler sort of be the default beatdown deck against all of these Expo decks. Going over a Giant Bowler deck would be,
Golem.
I'm going to play Golem. I'm going to play Lightning. I'm going to play as many big, expensive, powerful cards to overwhelm what you thought was a pretty reasonable beatdown deck. And so Golem is really popular now because it's just going over the top of a lot of stuff. It's going over Expo
What
decks.
can go over Golem?
I mean,
you almost can't, right? The only thing that really goes over Golem
Mirror Golem.
is Three Musketeers.
That's right, and then Mirror.
And occasionally Lava Hounds.
Yeah, hey, you know what they say, golem big or golem home. All right, let's go ahead and pull up the bracket now so far. We have our first finalist. It is Marcel P. Who will join him? Will it be Derek or will it be Gilgamesh? Now, Rohan, we talked about Derek again before running the Goblin Barrel. So, you know, a deck that you guys all want to see. You like seeing it played. Rainy, obviously, it holds a place in your heart. Gilgamesh, though, a returning player that we've seen before. Talking about these two kind of as we match up. Also, we're going to get ready. We can pull their decks so we can kind of see that as well. But just give me an argument kind of for both, and also which deck you're going to bring first.
Rainy, go ahead and argue for Derek. I know you want to. I know you want to
You
talk
got Goblin
about.
Barrel.
I know that.
All right.
There's your Goblin Barrel,
Well,
buddy.
looking at this list, look at who's that green guy right there.
Let's go and pull up the
I don't know
decks
if-
so we
I
can
don't know
take a
if
look at who that little green guy is.
Look at that green guy in the barrel. Look how happy he is. He's actually just elated.
Flying through the air.
Here's the thing. There's two
Great
others below him.
time.
Where are they?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a good
also
question.
play
It's like,
Never
you know when you
know.
see those like three kids in a trench coat sort of trope in movies? That's the
That's
goblins.
it.
They're
That's
three,
them.
they're stacked up
That's
in the barrel.
them.
Yeah, I think Derek. To be honest, I actually think that minor control, where you have the Inferno Tower, you have the spells, you have the chip damage, is actually probably what you want to go for. Make sure you have the flexibility to go under, as Rumham so eloquently explained to us, under these big body decks, and then have the tools to soften the blow of the incoming Golem push, and I think that's exactly what minor control decks are designed for. Giant Bowler, of course, we talked about how Golem decks were designed to go over them and really push through against these Giant Bowler decks, but I think Giant Bowler still holds. It's not a impossible to win matchup, right? I think Giant Bowler holds the benefit of being a little more lean, a little more flexible, right? And that's really what Derek has to be focusing on if he wants to win this match.
The worst situation for Gilgamesh is in a crucial game, especially in overtime, committing the Golem to the board, and in that moment, Derek goes under with the Miner, Goblin Barrel, Princess at the River, Minion
good
Horde,
luck.
right? And it's going to be faster, and it can usually take that tower first, which of course can win you the game in overtime. Gilgamesh, he's got the Golem Baby Dragon deck. We've seen it be very, very strong. I love it. I'm not going to root against it. Reddit Alpha, though, bogarting all of the finalist spots here if Gilgamesh wins.
What
Gilgamesh
has this
running
world come to?
Crazy.
Hog Lightning, though, a great way for him to go under the. Is it a Golem deck that is Derek's
Giant
other
Bowler.
deck? Giant Bowler. So he's going to have to really make good use of that Hog Lightning at the right time.
All right, well, here we go. Derek from Elite Gaming against Gilgamesh from Reddit Alpha. One of these two semifinalists will be moving on to our finals. Let us know who you think it's going to be.
Feels like we're back in April.
We're going all the way back.
Elite Gaming versus Reddit Alpha.
Oh, that's a good point. You're right. That is Derek of Elite Gaming. That's great.
All right,
Gaming.
let's see.
One of the first well-known competitive clans proving that they have not.
They're not out of the scene.
They're not out of it yet.
They're here.
Golem dies before it reaches the tower, and so death damage won't affect it. But Giant is actually.
Give him a little boost.
Bowler gave him a little push right.
He's like,
into
come
the
here,
tower.
you get my tower faster. Here, go get it.
Now that Mega Minion though has already done work. It killed the Ice Golem, killed the Baby Dragon, and it's coming back. It's not going to threaten the tower, but it is absorbing a few shots.
Actually interesting in that situation. Derek had enough elixir to play a Giant, and I actually think that would have punished Gilgamesh a lot. Already getting punished by the Musketeer, I imagine if a Giant was added to that push, he could have done a lot of damage in that moment. Maybe gonna turn around and bite him in the butt in a few minutes here.
Here's one thing that's not going to actually matter as far as gameplay at all, but I just wanted to point out what I love about what Supercell has done with this game. When a unit is slowed, its voice is also lowered. So I can't wait to hear the new bowler with a lower voice. Back to the game.
And cards like Golem that already have a really low voice, when they get slowed, it's like ridiculous. It sounds a lot lower. Yeah. Ooh, great. Oh, unfortunately, the Tombstone died and then spawned the skeleton, so the Golem wasn't able to blow up on all of it. And Giant doesn't blow up at all.
He pulls up into Elixir, which is cool.
Yeah. Knocks him
Bowler
back.
is working really well for Derek right now. I think the bowler is really clearing out a lot of the key cards that are defending for Gilgamesh and also converting really well. These bowlers are living for a very, very long time.
And now, because I believe that there is a Lightning in Gilgamesh's deck, he's opted not to play it. This is, now that we are in double, oh, that Musketeer just got zapped right off the board by the Lightning. This is the time where Golem can really, really shine. I think that Tombstone was supposed to be played 1 over, though. A little critical mistake there that could really cost him the game because you want those skeletons to build up on the Giant, and they're not doing it, and the Giant's not getting pulled to the side.
Uh-oh, and the log puts it further away. There's a big Lightning, and all the skeletons are going to get wasted on the left side. Now, big body decks are all about timing, especially with 18 seconds left. 512 means that it could be about 2 Lightnings. I think it's about 346 per Lightning. So that's actually 2 Lightnings away. Can you cycle 2 Lightnings before that Golem gets to your tower and pushes you down?
That's twice now that the Bowler and Musketeer have walked into that very unfortunate Lightning. That's tough. But again, the Golems aren't being that threatening to the tower. You know what I mean? They're not totally getting there. Although this Golem's going to get to the tower and maybe blow up on it.
Yeah, gets the death damage, and it's all
that's
about
lightning.
cycling.
That's lightning.
Wow.
And the Lightning doesn't reach the tower there at the top.
Oh no! Was there another Lightning used
defensive?
on defense?
No, Gilgamesh taking that one against Derek. 1 game up, 1 game away from
And look at that. That's a great example of going over the Giant Bowler deck. It looked early on like the Giant Bowler was doing well, but once the double Elixir came out, once both players were just flooded with Elixir, the Golem deck had the ability to go, you know what? I'm playing my expensive tank, I'm playing my expensive spells, and you can't do that much about it because you don't have the ability to go under my strategy. Giant Bowler's not a fast deck. There's no quick attack in there. So once Gilgamesh has committed to Battle Cruiser Clash Royale, he's just got the bigger ship.
All right.
Okay, well, so if you're not going over or under, and you're the person who is going being over or under,
you're making the,
what do you do?
You're
What,
the mid-range.
yeah.
Mid-range is the term, right?
okay,
Yeah.
if you're mid-range, what could you have done?
I think you want to make sure that you can do one of 2 things, right? You can split push really well. You
Okay.
can try to go in both lanes because when your opponent is holding a bunch of 8 and 6 and 5 cost cards, it's hard for them to easily kind of defend both sides. And you have to be very accurate with your placement. When you saw early in the game, I think Derek was outplaying Gilgamesh early on. He had really good Mega Minions, he had really good placements, but near the end, he started to walk the Bowlers and the Musketeer into some bad Lightnings, and that started to make him lose his Elixir advantage and fall behind.
surely.
I
That
think
Lightning.
if he had split them out a little much and not really walked into those big spells, I think that he probably could have pushed it. He was only 400 some odd damage away from winning. And it could just come down to just a little bit of Elixir lost in those bad trades.
Ray, I want to talk about how important we talk about if you get an Elixir, you're down Elixir, right? Someone got a 3 for a 4, so you're like, oh, they're ahead 1, or someone getting a free Tombstone on the field. How hard is it to come back from being down? Is it easy? Is it like, oh yeah, there's just certain things you can do as we're going into game number 2. Gilgamesh went up.
The best thing to do in that scenario is to spend some of your money in the bank, right? Your tower health is money in the bank.
Use the tower health. Okay.
Yeah, you use your tower health to buy yourself back into the game, and just understand that if you execute a push well, it doesn't matter how low your tower health is if you're the one that ends up taking more towers or has a tower down by overtime.
All right, now Gilgamesh has to use this final deck. Do you think it's a good matchup for what Derek's bringing, or does Derek have kind of the upper edge here on him?
It's kind of tough. So he could have played the Giant Bowler deck. I'm actually surprised that he didn't play Giant Bowler because he's going against a Hog Rider deck, so the Bowler would have been really, really strong there. But there is it's Hog Lightning, so I don't know how much he was maybe worried about getting his Bowler Lightninged off the field. I think this is probably Derek's first deck, his primary deck, the one he's more comfortable with. So with his back against the wall, he feels better playing it to tie it, and then he goes into game 3 with a pretty decent matchup in terms of cards.
All right, how are you going to avoid the log? That's not how you do it. All right, buddy.
Mind game.
One other thing about the kind of going under and going over, Hog Lightning is definitely a fast attacking deck compared to a Golem deck, but it's not nearly as fast or aggressive as the Hog Cycle decks that we used to see. And in this way, the Giant Bowler, the mid-range deck, actually does really well against this sort of like, oh, I'm fast, but I'm not that fast, I'm not that powerful. Hog Cycle would murder a Golem or a Giant Bowler deck, but instead, I don't know how it's going to do against Hog Lightning.
Skeleton Army being used on defense against the Hog Rider means that he's taking a little bit of chip damage every time that the Hog Rider is played, and that's really what the Hog wants to do. Big connection on the Goblin Barrel, lowers the tower health down to 1.1k. Mega Minion might get a little swing, but not really that relevant.
Gilgamesh only has a log to defend against the Skeleton Army and the Goblin Barrel. So if he can ever get Gilgamesh's hog or log out, there's a lot of opportunities for some really dangerous attacks.
This is a very good point. And for instance there, oh wow, that Inferno Tower. Oh, the lightning, way too late, not having enough elixir saved up. There's no log for this Goblin Barrel. Oh, there is. I lied. He actually cycled fast enough.
Because of the Ice Spirit. The Ice Spirit and the Princess helped him really cycle that quickly. Ooh, great Princess though. It's going to splash on a lot of those skeletons.
Minion just swats it down. No.
Here we go. Now we're going in. We're 30 seconds away. The next tower to go down may win the game just simply because there's not that much time left and both towers are so low health.
Derek, slightly ahead here. Oh, Fireball Log, will that be enough?
It should be.
Oh, how about his Fireball Miner? Just like that, Derek taking 10 seconds. He's got to stay alive. If Gilgamesh can't take this, if that hog doesn't make it, it looks like Derek is going to pick up the victory, and we will be going into game number 3 here of the semifinals between Derek from Elite Gaming and Gilgamesh from Reddit Alpha.
Now it is Hog Lightning against Giant Bowler, the match that we were thinking about.
Yeah.
This could go a lot of ways. I think this is really just going to come down to who plays their matchup better.
So
Bowler typically is pretty good at shutting down Hog Rider, because not only does it mitigate the damage that the Hog Rider does by pushing it back, but Hog Rider doesn't do any damage to the Bowler, so that's 6 elixir that as you're fighting the Hog Rider, you're just gaining more and more elixir.
Right.
Gets to a certain point where you have this mega push that some dude with a Hog Rider in hand just doesn't have enough cards to deal with, and you can get pushed down.
I mean, that's exactly using your HP as a resource in your tower, because Hog doesn't take any of the minions on the field.
Yes.
He just goes for tower. So right now, so you're saying Hog or the Bowler has a slightly bigger advantage?
Depending on how the Hog Lightning deck is built, it may be good against Bowler decks, but check this out. Gilgamesh is also playing Skeleton Army and Princess, 2 other cards that Bowler's happy to fight against, right?
Yeah.
I'm actually not sure what Gilgamesh could do. My best guess would be lightning it, maybe log it away, maybe you have a Mega Minion that's kind of killing it first, but as long as Derek is very patient with his bowlers, I think he's pretty favored in the matchup. Don't just throw Bowler out there on offense. Hold it on defense in all cases, and you should be able to stop most of the attacks that Gilgamesh can put together with this deck.
Okay, well, you guys at home, let us know who you think is the one who's going to be moving on to the finals. Will it be Derek? Will it be Gilgamesh? We are less than potentially 5 minutes away.
That's true.
All right, let's take a look.
Will Reddit Alpha make their second all Reddit Alpha finals, or will Elite Gaming crash the party? All different people, too.
Who's going to move on to
Reddit
win that
Alpha.
$2,000?
Poor Giant.
We'll see, getting eaten alive by the Skeleton Army. That's a drop that goes unanswered. Arrows is already
go.
down because he tried to use it on Princess and converting the skeletons with a Hog Rider push, and this is what we're talking about. When is the Bowler going to come down? Is it going to come down?
Looks like it wasn't one of those early cards, but only took 1 swing for it, so not too bad. And that actually shows how Tombstone is kind of bailing him out there. He has multiple cards that are good at delaying the Hog Rider from hitting the tower, and having one or the other in your hand is going to be very valuable.
What is your answer to Princess?
Musketeer should be in his hand. I'm going to arrow it instead.
That means that Skeleton Army is going to be really key.
I think he wants Skeleton Army to come out so he can bowler it.
There
Oh,
it
a
is.
little early.
Bowler early.
Again, that's like actually the worst situation of all situations to play bowler.
All right,
Because
let's see.
the Mega Minion's killing it. It almost died on its own. Now he doesn't have bowler for the incoming Hog Rider. That's going to be played right now.
Here we go. There it is. Look at that. Rum ham.
I guess he's relying on Tombstone, but then you're asking to get logged like that,
Man.
right? Like you're asking for the log to
Here we
come
go.
and
1,
wipe it out.
2, 3. Oh,
Yeah, that's
2.
already a big win against a giant bowler deck. If your Hog Rider can get 3 swings, that's very rare.
Yeah, Derek just needs to literally don't play the bolt. There's nothing that is worth casting that bowler.
Just wait until. That's one of the reactions.
Skeleton Army or Hog Rider. He's going to try to get the chip damage here. Well, it's a good way to cycle, right? Gilgamesh just wants to get the card out of his hand. If his opponent doesn't react to it, it's going to take an extra 100 damage, which he's happy to take.
There it is. Bowler in the back, and Musketeer will take down the Mega Minion before significant damage taken.
But that was bad placement. Even then, the bowler behind the King Tower, like, again, he was... I think that bowler was played prior to seeing the Hog Rider. He was playing it like an investment play, but in that case, you're better off just doing that with the Giant as opposed to the bowler itself.
You're right, because when they get there, just play the other one.
Yeah. Like, you need bowler standing in front of your King Tower.
when you see the Hog Rider.
Yeah, against anything, right? Against the Skeleton Army or the Hog Rider.
Uh-oh, here we go. I mean, one
Tombstone?
swing from this hog.
Wow.
And watch, here comes the log again. Maybe not. Maybe he's gonna let it happen.
Well,
There's how you want the bowler.
Look at that. Hey, again, he heard you. There's a lightning.
learning from your
Oh,
mistakes.
this is it. Log
B.
range.
It might be a little bit too late. He has to leave that princess alone. Does not have the time or the elixir to deal with it.
And the great distance too away. So is that?
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
I think that's
Yeah.
it.
That's gonna do it. Gilgamesh, Red and Alpha is moving on. Elite Gaming just quite couldn't make it, but they did make it to the semifinals. Congratulations there for Derek. But Gilgamesh moving on to our finals to join up against Marcel P.
And here's the thing, Derek, clearly very, very strong player, but that shows the value of knowing every single matchup
Yeah,
in and out.
absolutely.
You have to know exactly what to do in every matchup if you want to be a Clash Royale North American Open champion and go to the arena battles and the crown duel. Thank you, Derek. We'll see you again, but tonight, don't.
And now we all
ya
know
out.
that you don't do that. You don't play that way.
Hold them bowlers.
Hold the bowlers
Hold
against the
the
Hog Rider.
bowlers.
Let's go and take a look at our replay of that semi-final match.
Really, I think that Gilgamesh demonstrated how effective it is to just have good use of elixir, especially in double elixir time, where your Golem deck can really play expensive, powerful cards in conjunction with each other to give really, really high-powered effects. And I think that that really was a big winning point of playing his Golem deck. Interesting little note there, he hit the King Tower with his lightning. He wanted to make sure that he played it in the edge and not anywhere in the middle of the field to catch anything that might have been higher health than the tower.
Really key log play there. Log takes out about half the health of a tombstone, so if you see tombstone around 60%-ish health,
Drop a log.
you roll the log will not only finish off the tombstone, but also kill all the skeletons right away, and that let that Hog Rider get a crucial, 3 hits is 800-ish
a lot.
damage, a lot of damage, right?
You were talking about what's like the swings per worth of a Hog Rider?
It really depends on what your opponent plays to counter it. So for example, if an opponent plays something like Cannon and then Zap, and if you somehow manage to get one swing out of your Hog Rider,
That was worth it.
it was pretty worth it. When you have Bowler on the field, Bowler is a 6 elixir investment, or even something like, so let's put it this way. Against a bowler, there's not very many situations that your Hog Rider will be able to get to the tower and constantly swing back to back to back because their bowler is always going to push you away, right? So if you can actually find an opportunity where your opponent doesn't want to play the bowler, then you know that you really push them into a bad elixir spot, right? So seeing a Hog Rider get 3 swings against a deck like that is not common at all.
I 2 definitely value.
Yeah.
That's 4 elixir to do 500 plus damage. You're pretty happy about that because Hog Rider's cheap and you can cycle it quick enough that you only need to do that like 4 or 5 times to win the game. So getting even one of those is like, yes.
So you made it in.
Well, let's take a look at our bracket to see what's been going on tonight. Look where we are now. We've come so far.
Marcel
Marcel
P.
P and Gilgamesh.
Woo, they're going to have to play a best of 5 in the finals. And I think that, I don't know.
Take a look.
It's always so tough once it gets to this point because I feel like each of these players had to do something incredible in the round of 8 and in the semifinals to get to
Absolutely.
the finals. And I
mean,
don't know.
both
I
of
would
them-
say both of them are playing really well.
Both of them are playing the identical Golem decks. Golem, Baby Dragon, Lightning, Tombstone,
Okay.
Ice Golem, Mega Minion, Log, Archers, playing those same decks. The alternate decks are where they differ greatly. Marcel P is running the Giant Bowler deck with Musketeer and Mega Minion Lightning that we saw. Hog Lightning is Gilgamesh's other deck that we just saw seal that match. So kind of tough to see how they match up here. I think the Hog Lightning deck against the Giant Bowler might be the thing that lets Marcel P seal this, because if he can watch the mistakes that were just made by Derek and don't make those same mistakes against the Hog Lightning deck, that's a matchup I think he can win.
So we were kind of talking about backstab earlier about the pros of bringing 2 of your 2 identical cards, because then eventually your opponent has to have to play the second card they have to win, and if you're good against that. So we have Marcel P obviously having 2 different cards. Which one do you think is his strongest, just flat out?
Two identical
Two different
decks.
decks.
Sorry, 2 different decks. Sorry, not two
Yeah, they have
cards.
2 different decks.
Right. Which one is his strongest?
I'm really impressed with the Golem Baby Dragon until here's the thing, the Hog deck is going to be way better against the Golem deck, but until a lot of people start playing really fast Hog Rider decks, the Golem deck I think is the most powerful deck in the format. It can tank all the Expos, not that we saw any today, but it can do that. It's bigger and better than the Giant Bowler decks, and we saw that in the semifinal rounds. So until people can really start punishing the Golem decks, I really like that as the strongest deck, and it's no surprise that they're playing identical matchups and meeting in the finals.
And you're running this on the ladder right now as well, right?
Yeah.
Or similar.
I run Furnace instead of Tombstone, though. I like the Furnace and a few other cards different. But yeah, it's a
So
very, very strong
emotional.
deck.
Such an emotional start from these two.
They're both, I think they're both playing their goal. Nope. That Musketeer gives away. That is the Giant Bowler deck for Marcel P. And Golem for Gilgamesh. Marcel P's a little sad because he's worried about the Golem going over the top of his Giant Bowler strategy.
Let's make a case study. Marcel P tried to play Golem as a first card. This time Gilgamesh is going to do the same.
Very good point. I think this
gonna
Golem's going
do
to
it
get punched.
better?
The Musketeer is not in tower range, so he has to play other Elixir to actually stop it.
All right, Ice Golem gets
Kind of a weird lightning.
destroyed.
There's the log's going to do its log thing. Oh, but look at those Golemites.
Get out of here.
Boink, boink. No damage to the tower at all for Gilgamesh. And
Don't do it, boys and girls. Don't play Golems behind your tower as a first card.
Drop that. Ooh, that would have been a great time for the Giant. Oh, it is. But unfortunately, he needs that Mega Minion out now. That splash damage is hitting both of those big bodies, which is not really very good at all for Marcel P.
Ice
Bowler's
Golem
down,
down
right?
in the front to make sure more damage is mitigated. That log is going to take down. Ooh, one punch from the Giant. Fine. That's a win.
And they're even Elixir again. So right, I think Marcel P's got to be happy with that. His cheaper deck was able to basically put together a very reasonable push, do a little bit of damage to the tower, and they're back to even again. The trick for Marcel P is to not walk into those really bad lightnings. There's not a ton of great lightnings he can nail against Gilgamesh. Only the Mega Minion is vulnerable to lightning. Baby Dragon will survive it. Ice Golem is cheap and doesn't really do anything. And the archers are two separate bodies the lightning would have to target.
I really think something that's going to be really game-changing in this matchup is when double elixir time hits. That's when 1 minute is left in the match and only 2 more seconds left. This Golem push is pushing into that double elixir phase, and really it's all about timing. Big body mirror matches are all about timing. How can you make it so that your opponent's momentum is not lined up with when overtime hits and take down that tower?
Right. I think what Marcel P might want to do at some point is, during some of these big, long, extended pushes, try to just play a Giant behind the King Tower instead of in front of it soaked a lot of damage, but it also just died and let the archers and the Baby Dragon build up. But if he could just sneak one behind a King Tower and then defend, even if he took a little bit of damage on his tower, he would eventually have a free Giant along the way to help build a push with on the right side, where that tower's already pretty weak on damage.
Golem will be able to stop the Golemites from swinging on the tower, and a little bit of chip damage taken. Again, a lot of pressure being put on by Gilgamesh, but there is a point where you will overextend. Bowler is actually going to retarget onto the tower, and that might be a key mistake. A lot of damage being done from Marcel P to Gilgamesh on the right side, but will this Golem be the one that pushes down the tower? We talked about double elixir time is when Golems really start ramping up and being incredibly effective. Wow. He's going to take a lot of damage for this, and that might be it.
And it's very, very tough, of course, when your opponents can go over the top. Oh, three! Yeah. When your opponent can go over the top, it's tough. Like, how do you defend against a Golem while not walking into a lightning? I think the key there, if you wanted to switch the matchup up a little bit, is to try to, sneak those Giants in there and get a push, split push going so that your opponent can't just dump everything into one lane and make you walk into really bad lightnings.
Yeah, well, there you go. Gilgamesh going one game up here in our finals. Again, a reminder, it is a best of 5 here in the finals, and these guys are playing for $2,000, their name and face to go up on our wall of champions, and also the chance to go into the arena battles with an 8th. We'll go into the crown duels where they'll be playing for $15,000 and the chance to go to Supercell HQ. Also, guys, reminder, if you're watching this on Facebook, hello. Make sure you hit that share button. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe if you would be so kind. And finally, if you guys are watching this on Twitch, if you give you a follow, we would super appreciate that. We thank you guys so much for all your support. These guys are amazing players. We want to make sure everyone sees how awesome and great they are.
Mm-hmm. So, Rainey, in the match, you talked a little bit about your momentum hitting when double elixir happens and timing those up. Can you just explain that a little bit more and how you make that happen?
To utilize that.
So, the first Golem, let's look at it this way. The first Golem that was played by Gilgamesh, no damage done, right?
Kind of a turd golem.
Yeah, kind of. That's
turd Golem.
Exactly. That is disgusting. The second Golem played similar, right? Not really that much damage done. But just that third Golem that was played that bled right into that last minute where double elixir started happening, that wasn't even a push that I would consider in double elixir time. But that got a little bit of damage onto the tower as a result. And then double elixir was so effective that before that push was even completely wiped out, the next golem came down, and that happened to be the golem that closed everything out. Absolutely. And that's really, you really have to make sure that if you're playing against the golem deck, you make something big happen before the double elixir time, enough that you know that you can take the tower down before that last golem, that fourth golem that Gilgamesh played, takes your own tower down. Because it's slow. It doesn't happen fast, but it's inevitable, right?
Right. And think about this. Golem plus lightning is alone 14 elixir. So on what planet can you Golem plus lightning plus anything else unless it's double elixir? I really didn't like that leaking at the start of the match, especially because Marcel P had a great pass play. He had the split archers. Like, he could have done that at 10 elixir, and that would have been fine. So I don't understand what they really gained there by not, by not just putting something on the board right away.
Now, is Gilgamesh playing the same deck twice?
He has played the same deck twice. So if he wins this game, the Golem deck will be out. Marcel P has opted to go to the Golem mirror match. So this will come down to a little bit, and because they're both slow decks, opening hands don't matter nearly as much with this deck at all. No one can really punish the other one very quickly, so they're just going to sit back, kind of see what they can put together. Ooh, I like this with the Ice Golem in front.
We'll see. The Golem on the left has Mega Minion supporting it. Golem on the right has the Ice Golem supporting it. Log coming in to help. Golem gets popped before it reaches the tower, but Marcel P is actually going to make it, and that death damage does about 400.
I like that Ice Golem in front. Now that Ice Golem blows up skeletons, it was a great thing to lead into the Tombstone with, because when the Ice Golem dies, it takes out all the skeletons with it, and that gave just a little bit more time and health to the Golem to get to the tower, blow up on it, and do a good amount of damage. And look at that. Marcel P had a 2 elixir advantage that he was able to get his Golem down first, and hopefully he can translate that 2 elixir advantage into an extra Ice Golem, Mega Minion, something like that, to be a little more effective in this push.
And they both haven't used lightning yet?
Both, yep, that's right. They're both holding lightning. It's really hard to play that card prior to double elixir time. Of course, we're in that now, so let's see a really good lightning.
See when it comes.
Oh no, actually pushed them too far, and the Tombstone doesn't reach. There's a big lightning being used, and that Golem is a really healthy Golem. I think that Marcel P should focus all elixir on defending right now, because I actually think that he might be able to just lightning cycle that tower down.
Right. The oops there was he assumed that the Ice Golem explosion plus the lightning would kill the Baby Dragon, but nope. Baby Dragon lives on.
Tanky.
My kingdom for a zap right now. Watch this Golem blow up on everything.
And bye.
Wipes out a lot of stuff.
Man, a lot of archers on the field. This really just goes to show how nice of a benefit it is to have cards that don't get removed by spells. A log hit the archers, and they're still getting a lot of value.
I don't like these Golems out of Gilgamesh. I think Gilgamesh is slowly finding himself in an increasingly behind situation. I mean, you see the elixir difference right now is massive on the board, partially because he's putting 8 elixir on the board while he's under assault, and they're just getting chopped away. Great log, though. Takes out the Tombstone, clears out all the skeletons.
Golem pops before it reaches the tower, and similarly, a well-timed log here. Marcel P in the same situation, but the tower is so much lower for Gilgamesh than it is for Marcel P, and that's it. I think Marcel P has it. 12 health, just
log it up.
log away.
Ice Golem buys a little time too, so he feels safe. He can kind of seal the lane with the Ice Golem.
Nice and slow. Gilgamesh sees his demise. Marcel P responding by taking a game of his own. We are now 1-1 here in the finals, and like you kind of pointed out, now it's almost like the best of the best. No, it's when it's 2-2. No, yeah,
no, it's 1-1.
Now it's the best of 3
now
starts.
It's the best of 3.
The best of 3 now starts.
Each deck can be played one more time. And we're starting a best of 3 now. Marcel P did a few things different in that mirror match. I wonder how they both view the mirror match and what they should be doing. Marcel P put the Ice Golem in front of his Rock Golem, and it was really effective. It helped push against the Tombstone. Both of them were logging in very excellent timing in order to make sure the Tombstone and the Skeletons were going out.
Yeah.
I think that might have been the difference there for Marcel P. 10 elixir of tanking instead of just the 8. Really did a good job at pushing the Golem into the tower.
Also, a big thing there was the Tombstone misplacement from Gilgamesh.
Yeah, the Tombstone being misplaced allowed Marcel P's Golem to actually make a straight run for the tower, and that really hurt him because when that Golem touched the Crown Tower, it was still at 60% health. That's a long time, and that's basically guaranteed that the Golem will do its death damage on the tower as well. So any swings you get from the Golem itself is like cherry on the top, right?
So all right, so if you're Gilgamesh, you just saw what Marcel P did against your mirror.
Yeah.
Do you think if you're Gilgamesh that Marcel P is going to bring that again?
If I'm Marcel P, I'd probably keep it again. I mean, there is the thing you're afraid of is losing to the Hog Lightning deck. But the nice part is that if he wins with Hog Lightning now, it's out. They're done, right? Like the Hog Lightning deck. Well, no, I guess he could play it again. That's right.
So much leaking elixir.
Oh, winning with
Yeah, it's the
with
Golem. Each of their Golem decks have won a match, and they're leaking elixir again. And I'm gonna laugh if they split Archers again, because that's just the thing you do
Just
at the
start
start.
out.
That's just the first thing you do. Or Tombstone. Like they both have Tombstone. They both have Archers. I can't imagine what their hand could be where there's nothing to play. Ice Golem,
On
really
both
nothing.
sides.
I mean, what they're basically afraid of is that one player plays Golem and the other player throws the Hog Rider down or can defend with something else.
Look at the respect. 2 players from Reddit Alpha, probably dueling partners, facing off right now.
Yeah, I don't get. Again, like I'm not sure. I'm looking at their deck and I'm not sure what they could.
Are
Like
they just
what?
waiting for double elixir?
At some point, just log, right? Just log, because there's nothing you're really afraid of. Like if you have log, cast it. If you have archers, split them. If you have ice golem, play it behind your king tower. If you've got tombstone, cast it.
What if you have none of them? What if all those 4 are the 4 that aren't your
There it is.
Oh,
It was
it's
a tombstone.
Marcel P making the first move, and it looks like Gilgamesh gonna respond with the Golem.
And after all that, here's the funny thing: is after all that, now they're just really close to double elixir time.
Right.
Where the golems run wild. Yeah, I maybe I'm a little bit of a zealot about this, but I never want to leak elixir. Like I can very rarely think of arguments for when leaking elixir is better than not.
No, and Gilgamesh flubbed up. The Ice Golem is behind. You want that in front.
Well, maybe he wants
It
it in
dies,
front.
actually. It does take down a lot of skeletons. Oh, the log is mistimed, and it's still going to get the death damage on the tower.
Wow, that is a good chunk of damage.
Yeah, death damage from the main golem is a lot.
Oh, Marcel P is actually playing the giant bowler deck, so he doesn't have the golem. I think he was
Wow,
expecting
I think
the
that
Hog
really
Lightning.
hurts him.
Oh.
Now, you see Marcel P trying to go down the other lane. He wants to make sure that Gilgamesh has as hard a time as possible committing his 8 elixir to one lane and getting efficient damage down. See, that convinces Gilgamesh to play the golem down the other lane. And Marcel P is going to be pretty happy
And
about
there he goes. Now we've got a really good split push. How can a golem deck reasonably defend against, you know what I mean? He's got 2 cards that don't defend themselves, the ice golem and the golem. There are a lot of expensive cards. Lightning doesn't really do much right now.
Now they're giant.
And the golem is basically left alone to get killed by a single Mega Minion.
Yeah, and 2/3/2/4 damage on that right side tower. Obviously, if this Baby Dragon does a lot, that's going to change a little bit, but
Right.
pretty good.
But you see how that was much more effective than just running the golems and giants into each other
Yep.
and losing that tank push.
Absolutely. Well, we're about to go into overtime here, and in overtime, the first tower to go down is the 1.
Let's see where that golem comes down. Oh, I think this might actually favor. We're in a base race now, right? I mean, we're in overtime.
Yes.
First tower to go down. The golem's very strong, but there's a good opportunity here. If that log can come down, knocks
Ooh,
back the
well
archers,
timed.
maybe sends one down the other lane.
I think that giant might not be long to live because the Mega Minion drop was actually going to make sure that the giant goes down. Golem actually dissipates before it gets to the tower. That buys Marcel P another opportunity. Watch out for your left side, though. And he uses the arrows to take that down. All right, this is when the giant has to come in on the right side. I think this is the perfect timing for Marcel P.
Mega Minion, yep. Oh, the bowler, great job. But if that log can finish it off,
Play the log to take it down.
might be just trying to let that happen instead.
The Musketeer is going to take down most of the skeletons, in fact. Actually, almost all of them. There's a big lightning taking down the archers.
So close.
But watch out, the golem is so healthy. Marcel P pushed all in and didn't quite make it, and so he is
no.
going
we might have
to
another lightning, though,
lose.
depending on what can happen. Oh, I don't really like the giant right there, but I guess what else would you really
Oh
do?
no, Golem!
The lightning's not going to be enough.
Oh, the golem has it. So that's really, I think that Marcel P pushed for the all-in, didn't quite have enough gas in the tank, and it might have come down to the fact that that log needed to come down on the tombstone
Earlier.
Because the giant's not going to blow up on them like
Yes.
a golem will, so you sort of just have to get rid of them early. But really, the archers are the MVP there. Archers, nothing in Marcel P's deck aside from an expensive lightning is going to get him off the board. However, Gilgamesh is now backed into being a predictable deck now. He has to win with a Hog Lightning deck. Marcel P has already won with his Golem deck, so he only needs to win
can choose.
twice with a giant bowler deck with Tombstone Mega Minion.
Against-
Right.
Wow.
So as long as he doesn't eat too many bad lightnings, I think it's very much in the realm of possibility
Yeah.
that the giant bowler deck 2-0s this Hog Lightning deck
Really?
to win the match.
All right. Well, we will see. Again, we have Marcel P 2 games away from winning. We have Gilgamesh just 1 more game. These guys playing for $2,000 and the chance to move on to the arena battle. So, are we still confident about Marcel P? Are we still confident about Gilgamesh? Do you guys have any changes? Or
You look like you're debating over there, Rainey.
I've seen too many Hog Lightning decks push past Giant Bowler. I mean, in my head, I've always told myself this story, but it could just be one of those cases where I was told really early on in my life, and so now I can't believe anything else.
Right.
I think Bowler is great against Hog Rider.
It is.
But in the Coronation Day, I feel like the tapes say the opposite.
Marcel P doing what I don't want to see, which is playing the bowler early. Like, I'm not like, could have been anything else, you know what I mean? Like, is there really nothing else in the deck to cast? But here's the thing, because now here's the thing. The Skeleton Army's going to come down the right side, as is the Hog Rider. There's no bowler for either of these cards. The log's out.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, Musketeer tags onto the Hog Rider rather than the Mega Minion. Actually, that works out okay. How
Yeah,
are you
it's
going
not
to
too
stop
bad.
the Inferno Tower?
Kind
You're
of got
not.
bailed out there, for
Yeah.
sure.
But don't do it again.
But don't do it again. Here's the thing. The nice thing is that Marcel P has a log in his deck, so he has, I mean, he has basically double bowling type effects against the Hog Rider and Skeleton Army. The Princess is
There
also
it
in the
is.
deck, and there's the log there. Now that's what I like to see,
Giant behind.
Because-
wait for the bowler.
because that forces your opponent to attack into you, right? Like you're about to hit 10. Marcel
don't
P
have
actually
the-
had a pretty significant elixir advantage there. Was able to play the giant, and now it forces Gilgamesh to do something, right? He's got to attack into it, kind of defend the giant. And if he plays a Hog Rider, it's right into what you want to do.
Ooh, play the log. There it is.
Great, and the Mega Minion cleans that up, and now you have a pretty half-health giant. No lightning right now, so I think the Inferno Tower's going to win. But you did get some damage on the
Ooh,
tower.
Mega Minion sneaks
Ooh, it's just
through.
out of range.
Nice. Has to play the Ice Spirit to stop that. And that puts them at even. Bought a Lightning.
Yeah. And both towers are a little fragile. I think, Marcel P's probably happy with how that turned out right now. Both are going to tick towards 10. The question is, as you both hit towards 10, when can you really cast a Hog Rider? There's not a ton of great opportunities for it, especially when your opponent has both Tombstone
He's countered,
and
yeah,
Bowler.
he's
And
countered so quickly.
even a Musketeer you can play so far away that it's not really in lightning range.
There it is.
Oh, okay. One swing, two swings.
Here's the thing, you could probably go giant, or that could be a log or a giant arrows. Ooh, actually I think a Musketeer's gonna kill that Mega Minion.
Yeah.
Outside of range.
Oh, the Ice Spirit needs to be tagged on to help it. This is the perfect opportunity to play the Bowler. I think he could have played it further back to make sure that the line of play was a little more organized.
That
Because
log
now the
is-
Bowler is going to walk in front of the Giant.
And that bowl just kind of helped Marcel P have a bigger push.
Right, and now you're gonna want the Mega Minion or the Musketeer to help shoot that thing. Lightning might be good actually on the Princess and the Inferno Tower, but you'd opt to take it on the damage instead. Or take the damage on the tower instead. And then of course the log helps chip. And that Musketeer survives from the last one and is still there helping out. I think that thing's only gonna get one shot.
Well, value.
Now see, you see where the Giant Bowler deck, by playing defensive, playing a very control stance here, is starting to get better.
building, yeah.
These are both kind of beatdown decks, but the Bowler deck can play the control role. It has the ability to switch into control. It actually, you want to talk about going over, mid-range decks like this, even though it's a beatdown deck, is going over the Hog Rider deck. The Hog Rider deck doesn't really have a way to be fast and punish this deck because the Marcel P's never really investing that much elixir that there's not an answer.
Ooh, wow. He actually plays a Tombstone into the log.
Reverse order too, so that way the skeletons don't get logged away. Great adaptation by Marcel P there.
All right.
And now he doesn't have an Inferno Tower, and even though he can cycle back to it, the opponent is under pressure to cycle back to it.
Giant
Lightning
gets
here?
tagged up by the Inferno Tower. The Ice Spirit is going to jump up and slow the Giant
Ooh,
down.
just out of range.
I think the Lightning is just a little bit too late, and you know what?
Oh
Oh,
no!
no!
That prediction! And the log's gonna come down, but it's gonna miss the Tombstone!
Double tower shooting at the Hog Rider means it's only going to get one swing.
And that Musketeer's gonna be able to shoot. This is a very tactical matchup between these two excellent players. We've seen Gilgamesh here on the top 8 before. We've seen Marcel P multiple times. Both of them really know what they're doing in this matchup, and they
Take a
are
look at this.
really outmaneuvering each other here.
Oh,
He
only one
gets it.
swing.
He gets a
one
swing
swing,
in.
but now he has to deal with the full health Bowler and probably can play a Giant in front of it. He needs to respect Skeleton Army though.
Yes.
And
He's
I
got a
think that's
lightning
what's
and
really
then
hurting
log
him.
probably almost immediately. I think an Ice Spirit is what just got rolled away there.
Oh, he tried
again!
predicting it again, but it's not good. Marcel P is relying on kind of a little bit of a gamble, I think.
Wow.
And I think he feels the pressure. He feels like he needs to rely on a gamble to win it, and I don't know if that's necessarily the case. Musketeer will take down that princess finally that has been shooting over and over and
This is
over
it,
again.
A log for the win.
There it is, Gilgamesh. We
Oh,
thought it was a
man.
bad matchup, but no, 3-1ing Marcel P. Ladies and gentlemen, he is our champion. He is the king of Coronation Day number 7, and he is going home with $2,000. Congratulations,
Marcel P will be
Gilgamesh.
back. He'll be back tomorrow.
We'll see Marcel
See you
P
tomorrow,
again.
buddy.
Congratulations to Marcel P. Not going home empty-handed. He is taking home $500 for second place. So a good prize.
You know what's crazy? Marcel P has made more money than anyone in this besides the champions.
And not-
besides he's made over.
Right.
I think he's made $1,200 so far.
That's amazing.
From his appearances alone. Because two
from not
500s and
winning.
two 100s.
Very-
I mean, that's
Yeah, that's
you could buy a car for that
totally
too.
fine.
Let's go into our replay here. We got the Golem, I believe, and the Lightning.
Yeah, Golem, take a look at how much damage this Golem does once it reaches the tower. I mean, it's going to swing and it's going to get its death damage in just 2 swings, really. There was a lightning on top there,
Wow,
but
yeah, you're right. 300-ish so damage.
yeah,
Very strong.
It's insane. And if you have that Golem swinging before it explodes as well, each of those swings is nothing to laugh at.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wonder, oh no, and another one, especially there's so many cards in Marcel P's deck, his giant bowler deck, that were open to lightnings. I mean, the bowler is actually not a great lightning target. It's got a lot of hit points, but Musketeer, Mega Minion, Tombstone, all of those cards, if you can get any 2 of those in a lightning, whoo,
Good.
tough.
You are so adamant about not starting with the bowler. Is there anything else you would rather not start with, like lightning or anything at
Yeah,
all?
definitely don't cast your big spell. I do think in those situations where they're not sure what to do, you could have just logged the tower.
Yeah,
like for 2
two
elixir,
regenerates real
just,
quick.
Just get the damage. Yeah, you're gonna get that 2 back, and because you also have bowler in the deck, you knew that even if they're like, oh, he played log, time to skeleton army,
Yeah.
time to hog rider,
You
you're
got
like,
bowler.
sweet, I have tombstone, I've got bowler, I have options there.
Right. All right, well, let's now go ahead and pull up the bracket before we do our final congratulation of the day. Rumham Rainey, walk us through a quick recap of Coronation Day number 7.
Well, for one, Backstab.
Backstab was here.
Backstab was here.
Great
right.
special guest.
Yeah, great special guest and handled most of the round of 8. Sad to see Chief Mystical, his buddy, his comrade in arms, get taken down by Marcel P.
Hammer Esports.
But yeah, Marcel P had a very interesting journey. Chief Mystical, then against Flash, and finally against Gilgamesh is not an easy run. Discounting, and this is discounting anything that he had to deal with before the round of 8, right? But that is not an easy run to take. It's just such a shame that again, in the finals, he gets shut
Right.
down.
And I think another story is the big clans, the big guilds in this game are really coming together and
Yeah.
showing their consistent dominance. Every one of the top 8 matchups had at least one player from a notable named clan. We saw Elite Gaming, we saw Takeover, we saw Reddit Alpha, we saw Hammers Esports. These are the same names, the same clans we see over and over again every Coronation Day, and they're just showing that when you are with other good players, when you can deck build, when you can practice with the best, you become so consistent that you can cut through tens of thousands of people to continually make the top 8 and earn your ticket to the
Over
arena
and over.
battles and
Yeah.
a couple $100, maybe a couple thousand.
Yeah, he's racking
Maybe
up,
a car.
racking up the chain.
Maybe
for
a
it.
car. Yeah, that was.
That's awesome.
He's got dreams. You gotta have a vision. You gotta have a vision to move
And
forward.
Reddit Alpha might be pulling away from the pack now. The Reddit clan system has 3 of the 7 Coronation Days under their belt, and that is the second Coronation Day where both finalists
Or
are members
from
of
the
Reddit
same clan.
Alpha, their lead clan.
Yeah.
So not only is Gilgamesh taking home $2,000 and a chance to move on to the crown duels, but he's going to be remembered throughout Clash history.
That's right.
So if you want to be like Gilgamesh, go to ClashRoyaleOpen.com where you can sign up and be the next Gilgamesh tomorrow. You can do it tomorrow or a little later tomorrow.
That's right.
But it's going to be even greater.
Yes.
Late night party time.
Later and greater tomorrow. That's our broadcast starting at 8 o'clock p.m. Giving the West Coasters an opportunity to get in here and get your Clash Royale North American Open monies. Backstab said he's going to be in it. We'll see if we can see him in the top 8 again. So he'll be playing. You guys can, if you're not at least playing, cheer for. I know a lot of streamers, they stream the Open qualifiers up in this. So make sure you guys go and support them. So congratulations to our future winners because they're all going to be fantastic.
We're not even halfway done.
No. Well, wait. So we're 7.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's 8. and then tomorrow will be our halfway mark.
Yep.
So
You have so many more chances.
Yeah, that's
still.
right. That's right. So you guys, make sure you guys get in there and participate because it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. Any final thoughts here of the day? Quick things you want to say?
Why do you have a meme on your notes?
Well, I was so we didn't do our corner today, and I was gonna, I'm the only one without a legendary here, and you asked me how does that make you feel, so I decided to totally draw this, and I got.
Yeah, that's that face when Ella, who started playing 2 months after you, gets a legendary before you.
That's what's most ridiculous about this.
I can't wait to go home
I've
and
opened
play
up
with my
so
legendary.
many chests, and I have yet to see one. So, hey, but it's okay. I love it. Hey, Supercell, I love it. I absolutely love it. It's great. My spawner.
Hey, buddy, get good. Get to Arena 9. You can just buy one out of the shop, buddy. Just go pick
That's
it up
right.
for 40 Gs.
I got to make it there first. That's the key. But no, I love it. I think the next one that's coming out, we have 4 teasers. Tornado's already been revealed. The next legendary, I'm already calling it. It's a spawner. It's a spawner legendary. That's what it's going to be because it's going to go for my spawner deck. Please, Supercell. Please, Supercell.
He needs
please.
something.
The loyalty to Spawner, that's why you're not in.
That's why I haven't
Got
quite.
him.
That's why I haven't quite made it yet. All right, well, guys, that is doing it for Coronation Day number 7. Thank you all for joining us. On behalf of everyone here at NG Studios in beautiful Burbank, California, this has been the official Supercell Clash Royale North American Opens. That is Rumham Rainey. We had Backstab.
Yeah, I'm Ella.
I don't have a legendary.
The most ridiculous night. I can't wait to go play.
I'll get it one.